Hey everyone, before we get to this week's show, this is just your weekly reminder to please continue to pray for my wife, Lindsay. She is battling breast cancer right now, and we're praying for complete healing in Jesus' name. Thank you.
They open up this door, and it is a room that doesn't have a roof. And so we go into this room, and the guards slam the door behind us, kabam! And they tell the other prisoners, these ones are y'all's. And he says it in Spanish, these ones are y'all's. I think I'm going to see Jesus today. And I thought that. I think I'm going to see Jesus today. And all of a sudden, Gina Zagara says, he starts yelling. And he said, I'm an apostle from God Almighty, and I was sent by God Almighty. And you clowns think you're going to mess with me? You're not going to mess with me. You need to sit down and shut up. And he starts prophesying to these guys and pointing at them. And he goes, don't be threatening me. Don't come over here. He goes, I didn't come down here for you to threaten me. I came down here to bring Jesus to you. And you better sit. He goes, sit down. I want y'all to sit down. And they all just started sitting down.
What?
He just commanded the whole room. The Spirit of the Lord just came on him. There's this guy, he's all messed up and whatever, and Gene just lays his hand on him and says, be healed in the name of Jesus, and the guy just instantly got healed. Every single one of those guys, without fail, they're like, we pronounce Jesus as our Lord and Savior. Wow.
All right, today we have the Brew Crew in-house, Troy Brewer, Ben Brewer. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Yeah, we've never done a TV show or a podcast together before.
Really?
No, we've done mine.
Yeah, we've done yours.
But he and I he's been in ministry with me since he's a teenager, and really before that, he traveled all over the world. This is the first time we've ever been invited, the two of us, to do something. So thank you for that, man.
I'm glad we made it happen. And yesterday, I knew you were on the way because Shay had texted me, and the way she said it, she said you. So I text you, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, you coming too, right?" Because when I met Ben, we were down in Dallas filming for The Counter, and some of the stories he shared with me that he had been through because of who his old man was, I was like, holy cow. So before we get into conversation today and stuff, I want to give just the proper attention to The Counter, though, because I was actually sitting at the production table where Jack's at right now when I got the call from you. And you said that there was an opening for me to come and be part of the filming of this new TV show you're creating called The Counter. And I like the human side of Tony said, absolutely not, no way, not a chance. Because
chicken.
Yeah, yes. Because you told me you, Joseph Z, Alan DiDio, and I was like, I have nothing. I can't do this. But the word that came out was absolutely, yes, I will be there. and I'm so glad I went because it was such I feel like I gained a lot just as an individual being around you guys. And I felt like during the filming of those days, filming all those episodes, we built a bond that I wouldn't even know I missed out on, but knowing that I was there, part of that, I'm really glad I'm part of it.
Oh, man.
You know?
Dude, you added a lot. You added a lot to everything.
You killed it.
You did, man.
You think so?
Really? Absolutely.
I was battling that entire time. I was under such attack because I was sitting there feeling unqualified. You guys sit me next to Alan DiDio, the most qualified. and I'm looking and he sits down with his Bible. He opens it up and I'm looking at his Bible and everything's underlined, highlighted. I'm like, man, and I remember, I don't remember what episode it was, but I remember it was the last thing we filmed and the last thing I filmed as part of The Counter. And Alan's sitting next to me and something was being talked about. And I remember I found myself at times, and I don't think it's going to be like this the next time we film, but at times I found myself biting my tongue because I was like, that might be a little too extreme for this. I don't know if I should say that. And at the last recording, I was just like, I'm just going to do it. And I ripped the Band-Aid off. And when we were filming, the entire time after I ripped the Band-Aid off and I kind of went in on it, Alan just kept being professional part of the filming. And so because the way we were sitting and you were in the middle, most often we were all looking either your direction or towards Joseph Z. And so Alan's sitting next to me, but he's not looking at me. And in my head, this attack, this demonic attack, oppression was like, you blew it, man. Like Alan had respect for you until you said that.
Well, he's like that.
He can't even look at you. Like he can't even look at you.
That's terrible.
And then I was so down, but I was already ripping the Band-Aid off and like, well, I'm just going to keep tanking this ship. And I just kept on tanking the ship in my mind. Immediately after the recording, I think Shay's like, and cut. He does a slow pivot towards me, turns me, looks right at me and said, you did a really good job. And all of it just came tumbling down. And I was like, wow. Okay,
I'm a little upset because he never told me I did a good job.
Well, that's because you fumbled.
Did he tell you that you did a good job?
Yes,
Ben?
he always tells me. He loves me.
Damn it, Alan.
But
that's amazing, man. No,
So-
man, you brought it. Hey, we wanted you to be you, man, and you were you, and you brought it. It was
amen.
awesome.
So let's tell people about the counter.
Okay.
And it was your brainchild as to what spawned this. Why did you want to start the counter? And maybe even start off with what the benefit of having the counter is, which is fighting against human trafficking. All the money that's raised through this is going to fighting human trafficking, which is a huge part of your ministry. You have 10 ministries, but that is a big one. That is a huge one. And so what spawned the whole thing?
Well, the counter is the illegitimate child of you and Nate and Luke. Okay. And so we went, are you okay? He was getting a drink. Right?
Bad time to take a drink.
Spit that out. That's what it is. And actually, man, I go bear hunting every year, and man, you need to come go with me. Like,
I would love to.
Really?
I would love to.
Dude, you have such a blast, man.
I've killed my own hogs, so I can kill anything.
Right on, man.
It's terrifying, but it's awesome.
It's awesome. It's just so, and I guarantee you, it would get blurry if you went.
Love it.
I guarantee it would. So we'll talk about that because anyway. But anyway, I go bear hunting every year in northern Manitoba, and we take a big group of guys up there with us. And I was sitting in a stand. Darren Stott was hunting with me, and he was in a stand about 30 miles from me. And I'm sitting there, and I'm not getting a bear. No bear is coming. And dude, we've been hunting every day, and I've been sitting out there every single day, and crazy cool supernatural things are happening. This giant raven shows up and starts bringing me things. And so I start feeding it, and it'll leave. It'll come back like 3 hours later, and it comes back with a piece of metal, and it comes back. Then it came back with an arrow, like an arrow, a bow, like a bow and arrow. And it brought me an arrow. And I thought, boy, if that was a dream, what would that mean? Because I know what an arrow represents, biblically. It represents supernatural deliverance. That's what it means. I'm like, okay, like this is nuts. And I'm just sitting there, and I said, Lord, what are you talking to me about? And so I thought he was going to be talking to me about that. And all of a sudden, bam, I got this idea. And the idea was exactly what came out with the counter. And I was like, I'm getting all these guys together. I'm going to bring these big voices inside the Christian world and bring you into it. And we're going to make this legit for the entire body of Jesus.
Yeah.
And then I also was thinking about, too, just the finances that it could bring in, because I'm challenged with, every time we rescue 1,000 kids out of trafficking, we raise those kids, and that's a $2 million bill.
Jeez. So saving 1,000 kids comes to a $2 million bill,
which is cheap, dude. That's only $2,000 a kid.
Jeez.
But and like their psychiatric, like this last year, we have over 5,000 children under our care, and this last year we had to pay for 11,000 psychiatric treatments. 11,000. Because of their ongoing, rehab and the things, because of what they suffered. And I'm like, I'm just a dude. I don't know where I'm ever how can I keep our church is not that big. Like, how can we make this happen? And the Lord gave all this to me. So we launched it. You guys came out, man. We filmed. And we've only, at the time that we're actually recording this, we have done 4. And we've actually aired 4 of them. And it's just been so successful, man. It's just been beyond my wildest dreams. It's been so successful. We've had over 3,000 people sign up and say, I want to be a part of this thing. And I'm just very grateful, man. So you're a huge part of it. The
That's
counter.
Awesome.
And this last episode was on dreams, and you were in that one.
Yeah.
It was a good one too.
Yeah, I remember watching back on that, and I was thinking, because I didn't remember what I said during it, and as we were going, I was like, I hope I say, I did say, all right, good. You know?
Yeah, me too. As I'm watching it, I'm like, gee, I hope I said this, or I hope I said that.
Right.
Yeah.
But that just shows like the amount of stuff that's going through our brains, you know. You have a lot of lived experience. I have a lot of conversations I've had over the years. I mean, we're well over 800 episodes that we published.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it's wild. So, I mean, there's things that come into my mind that I didn't remember was even there, you know? And so it was an honor to be part of it. And is it official we are doing a season 2?
Yeah, we are definitely going to do a season 2.
Awesome.
We sure are. So
yes.
I can't wait. So right now, man, we're looking for, and you're going to have to help me in this. Hey, man, we need to do a show on this, on that, and all this. The first episode in the first season was on portals, right? And then we got into Nephilim bloodlines, and then I told the giant story, which you're the guy that broke that to the world, which got me. Oh, yeah,
you got some awesome hate mail.
Listen, a lot of people thought I was legit until I started telling them, I actually saw a giant. I've actually seen one, and it's funny how that happened, because I would have never made that public. And then I saw you and I was so excited because, we've been following you for years, and I'm like, I love you. I love your show. And I was like, Tony, I saw a giant. And dude, I was on camera when I said that, and then all of a sudden everybody's, what are you talking about? You saw a giant. And I'm like, oh no. So
he fangirled out and forgot where he was.
Yeah. I did. I totally fangirled.
I'm like, we're at NRB. This isn't the environment, and then all of a sudden, like my devil emotion came. I'm like, yes,
exactly. Yeah, we're talking about the NRB, the most conservative Christian thing you can possibly be. Everybody's wearing a tie, know. And I'm like, dude, I saw a freaking giant, and I'm just anyway. It was a stupid thing for me to do, but I'm so glad I did.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, you brought it wearing a tie and stuff. Looking at our shots and stuff from the counter. I know you guys say I don't have to. I'm gonna get myself, for the first time ever, I'm gonna get a sport coat. I'm gonna wear a sport coat during this.
That's amazing. Yeah, because you were the only guy there that did.
Yeah, you guys had coats and stuff, and I don't even own a coat. I don't own a suit, nothing.
Me and Alan wear coats, but we're also fat guys. Okay, and so that's why it's just not natural for you to do that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I in the last few months, I've been putting on some weight, and that idea used to bother me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm 40. I got kids. Yeah. I got a life. I'm busy. Like, it is what it is.
I am 59, and I want to tell you, I used to be extremely fat. I'm talking about next level fat. I was worldwide before the internet. That's me.
Really?
Yeah, I was. I was worldwide before the internet. I could sit around the table all by myself.
Jeez.
I used to wear white pants, and people would show movies on my backside. And I was like that. In 2011, I weighed 416 pounds.
No way.
I did.
Wow.
Super loser.
No.
I was even bigger than him. I was 428.
Yep.
That's my highest.
I don't believe it.
It's true. And a big time stress eater. Big time stress eater. And but I here the past couple of weeks, I should say past couple of months, the Lord's really convicted me and said, hey, I want you to start losing weight again. So I'm down 22 pounds from 2.5 months ago.
Awesome.
And next time you see me, you'll be strangely attracted to me.
Oh, gosh.
No, you won't. He lies.
No, you will. You will. There's no doubt.
Wow. Okay. So, Pastor, that's wild though. I didn't know that. I at one point got up to 240, which, for me was the highest I ever got. And I started trying to lose weight, and I had gotten down to like 175 at one point.
Wow.
And I remember this was years ago. I mean, probably around 2011, 2012. It was right around that time. I remember I went into a restaurant and I ordered a beer, and they carded me, and the guy said, this isn't you. And I was like, man, this is you. Give me my beer. Like, I was like, I came in here to get wasted, man. You better.
Like, this is a skinny person. This is a skinny person. That's what he said. He was looking at your ID and he was saying that.
Because I was overweight in the picture.
Oh, because you were overweight.
Yeah, and I had lost so much weight, and I was in a bad spot in my life, and I was like, man, you just better give me what I want, man. I was getting irritated. He did. He saw the fire in my eyes. Anyways, The Counter, I encourage everybody to check it out.
Thank you.
The episodes are on Troy Brewer's YouTube channel. ODX.TV has the full episodes. And it was a pleasure being part of it. And I can't wait for the next round of recordings. We should, all the guys that are going to be on it, we should get together between now and then and just brainstorm for like a few days.
Yeah. I agree. Maybe I can get all you guys to come out to Redemption Ranch.
That'd be awesome.
So I got a big ranch out in West Texas, and maybe I can get you guys to come out, man, and we could brainstorm, cry out, see what Jesus does.
Imagine, like, as good as The Counter turned out, we literally formulated what we were going to be talking about that day.
Yeah, that day.
Like we had a meeting and we're like, okay, I think you even said, all right, so what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
I'm like, you just tell me what to talk about and I'll talk about it.
Well, I knew that we could talk. I mean, I knew that we could. And because I mean, I knew all of you guys. I'm like, no, we just need, and also I tried to pick subjects that I knew that the guys at the table would know about. Schwartz is brilliant.
Yes.
Brian Schwartz is brilliant. NFL football player. He's a pastor on my staff. And he's just brilliant. And then, of course, you're dealing with the wild card of Darren Stott.
Yes.
So Darren Stott, who pastors Eden Church in Seattle, but he is a next level supernatural person and is actually really brilliant. And but he's funny and he's a nut and he's very good at reading a table and doing that. And then I had Joseph Z, who is Joseph Z. I mean, what are you going to say about Joseph? And then Alan Dadia.
Can I? All right, I want to talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today.
Yep.
But I want to ask for permission first before I say this. Can I talk about what happened at the premiere with Joseph Z and the prophetic word he had?
Yeah.
With the lady. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know. Because in my short amount of time I've had Joseph Z in my life, there have been numerous times where he has had a prophetic word for me that always is a confirmation of what I've already felt the Holy Spirit telling me.
Love that.
And it happened last year at NRB. The day that I felt the word, it was in the morning, I was getting ready, and the words, read my word, read my word, read my word, just kept coming to me. I was like, all right, God, I'll read your word. Like I was like feeling super convicted. I'm like, Lord's telling me something. And then later that day, I got the word of, it was read my word. And then it was tell my story. I have it backwards, I think. But it was like, tell my story, tell my story, tell my story. I'm like, read my word, tell my story, okay? And at this time, I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I preach? Because I'm not like everybody else. And I'm a podcaster. I feel very uncomfortable behind the pulpit, but God has called me to preach. And I'm just like asking the Lord, like, how do I go about preaching? And then that night, there was a round table filming, and I think you were part of that. At one point, you were a part of that round table. They pulled you up for it. But I'm sitting in the audience, and I'm sitting behind cameras. There's these two cameras, and the only face I could see between the two cameras was Joseph Z from a distance. It was like, framed. And then he starts speaking to the audience, and he just looks at me between the camera, and he goes, Tony, be a man of the word. You're a man of the word. And I was just like, whoa, And then the Holy Spirit just said, this is how I want you to preach. Read my word and tell my story.
That's awesome.
And so like he confirmed a lot of that stuff. Joseph Z has been a confirmation thing for me of what God's already telling me.
Yep.
So we're not filming. We're actually doing a premiere for ODX people, I think it was, in the room. It's probably about 200, 300 people in the room. And we're sitting up there and we're taking donations for the ministry. And Joseph, you always know when Joseph is starting to see something in the spirit because his eyes get pierced.
Yeah.
He's just squinty. And he goes, I just want to say something. I feel like there's somebody out here that is struggling with this idea of they have a legacy property and they're not sure what to do with it. And they're not sure if they should donate it to this ministry. If that's you, I just want to encourage you to follow what the Lord's telling you to do. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, we're not live. This is a limited audience. Mm-hmm. Joseph, you better be hearing something, And I was like, okay, Joseph. And I forgot about it. And then we were taking a break and we go in the back room and this lady comes back and she said, I was out there and I have 5 acres in Southern California And I don't even know how I got it. I inherited it. I don't even remember how I inherited this legacy property.
Yeah.
But there's a casino that wants to buy it off me, and I don't feel comfortable with that. And I really feel like I wanted to give it to the ministry, but I just didn't know if I should. And I was like, and I'm seeing this unfold in front of my eyes. I'm like, looking at this lady. I'm looking at Joseph, and I'm just like, this is wild. I was like, but these are faith building things for me as a Christian, that I'm just like, you can't tell me God's not active and moving today.
That's right.
Right.
Those things become normal after a while. I mean, they literally become normal. Like all the stories we're about to share about, all the times that God miraculously saved us from death. Those things become normal. I mean, it is very normal for me with the company of people that I run around with, for somebody to give somebody a word and then boom. And I mean, it'd be a mind-boggling word. And and also too, and it comes from crazy people. It comes from, it comes like when I was a little boy, my daddy was president of the Tarrant County Historical Commission. Okay. So he's the guy that went around and put up all the, what do you call those historical markers, right? Mm-hmm. And so I idolized my dad, and I didn't live with him, and I just idolized him. And so I got me a Davy Crockett hat, and I learned this Davy Crockett speech when I was like 5, 6 years old. And I carried around a little musket, and wherever Dad was talking to the history people, he'd say, well, my boy here, he thinks he's Davy Crockett and he wants to get up here and tell you something. I'd get up and I'd say, I'm a screamer. And I had this Davy Crockett thing memorized. Okay. Fast forward into the future, years and years and years. 2011, I went through the biggest, most terrible thing I've ever been through in my whole life in 2011. And it was really, really, really difficult. And in the midst of that, I thought, I got to have a word from the Lord. And I went to this little church, and this teenage girl walks up to me and she's like, I'm so scared to tell you this. I'm like, what? And she said, God gave me a word and it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I said, well, just tell me what it is. And she said, well, I might have got it wrong. And I was like, dude, just tell me what it is. And she said, God told me to tell you that you're a screamer. Okay, well, that wouldn't have meant anything to anybody on the planet Earth, but I knew what that meant. So I'm a screamer was 1830s vernacular for I'm a bad motor scooter. Okay, so he said, I'm a screamer. I can dive deeper and come out drier than anybody. I'm a screamer. I can yada, yada, yada. So it just means it's 1830s vernacular for you never seen nothing like me. And God gave me this word that said, don't forget, you're a screamer. Like, no, you're going to get through this. You're going to fight through it and you're going to win. Fast forward a week later, my church board sent Leanna and I to California, and we were in California, and Leanna's from California. I'm at the Royal Dolphina. I'm at the Dolphina Hotel, and they have like this wine bar and a nice restaurant at the bottom of it. When me and Leanna got there, Leanna went straight to bed. She's just like, dude, I'm done. I'm going downstairs. I'm going to get an appetizer, and I'm sitting there. And across the table from me is Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton played Davy Crockett in the last Alamo movie. And I'm just sitting there going, freaking Davy Crockett is sitting right over here. And I honestly thought my ministry was over. I thought I'm done. I literally was about to start driving the truck again.
Wow.
And it's like, I'm walking away from church. I'm walking away from all of it. Wasn't walking away from Jesus. Just we'd gone through this big church thing, a big church split and a big mess. And I was like, oh, no. It was terrible. And so I'm sitting there and he sees that I'm looking at him because I was processing this prophetic word. I'm like, now I'm sitting here and that's Billy Bob Thornton. That is Davy Crockett. And I'm sitting there and he looks over at me and he goes, hey, man. And I said, hey, man. And he goes, how are you? He's like, because he knew I wanted to talk to him and he was cool. And he goes, how are you? And I said, I'm good. I said, Mr. Thornton, I loved you in the Alamo, man. You were the greatest Davy Crockett ever. He goes, man, you must be from Texas because nobody likes the movie The Alamo. And I said, brother, nobody else matters besides Texas, what they think about The Alamo. And he said, dude, yeah, you're definitely from Texas. And I said, yeah, I am. And all that. So I just said, thank you for that, man. He said, well, thanks for saying that. And then he went back to talking to his friends and I left him alone. When he got up and left, he walked past me and he stopped and he put his finger in my chest and said, you're a screamer.
Wow.
And then he left.
Wow.
And it's like, that wouldn't mean anything to anybody on the planet Earth, but I'm just like, that getting those kinds of prophetic words and is so personal. And I knew right then, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this, but I'm going to make it.
Wow.
I'm going to make it. The Lord's telling me I'm a bad motor scooter and I'm going to get through this. This thing isn't going to kill me.
That gave you the motor to keep
That was
going.
it. I just like, yeah, let's go. Let's figure it out.
Wow. That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, you guys are full of just, I mean, I guess you guys are a great representation of people who just, and I guess Ben, you do it because this is how you were raised, but like people who just walk what God has called them to do and just do it.
Yeah,
And like
life.
radically do it. I guess that's the word, to do, like radically doing it. It's I've met very few people in my life who will feel the call to do something and radically do it. I don't know if you're familiar with Darren Canning. He's a prophet out of Canada, and I interviewed him months ago. It's going to air soon. We got backlogged towards the end of the year. He's one of these people where like he doesn't go anywhere in the world unless God gives him the dream to go.
Wow.
And when he gets the dream, he just goes. He collects whoever can come with him and he goes with no funding. He just goes and God provides the funding along the way. That's how he did it coming here. I messaged him. It's a friend of ours, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Acquaintance.
Thank you. I was going to say coincidental. I'm like, that's not the right word. An acquaintance friend, Mike Signorelli. So Mike knew Darren. And so I asked Mike and he's like, Mike, and I asked Mike and Mike's like, yeah, he'd totally come on your show. He'd totally be good. Right. And so I reached out to Darren and he took a while to get back to me. I guess he was praying about it or whatever, but like he gets back to me. He said, I'll be there. Tell me when. And so I said a day. He's like, I'll see you then. And I said, okay. Let me know how I can help you with like travel and stuff. And he said, there will be no need. And I'm like, okay. and he just showed up and they were heading out of the country from here to go somewhere else. But like the one story he shared was, God told him to go to Morocco. And so he made plans, and a week later he's in Morocco and he made plans to meet with a pastor there. The pastor never showed up to pick him up. And so they're in Morocco, nowhere to go. They don't know where they're at. And so they get a ride to go find food somewhere. They encounter heavy witchcraft on the ride. They get out of the ride and they somehow stumble across an underground church getting out of the ride. The underground church was the pastor who stood him up. That pastor didn't want him there. So 4 other people in his congregation came up to him and said, are you a prophet? And he said, I am. And they said, we've been praying for 4 years for you to come and give us a word. He gave him the word and he left. And I'm just like, what? I'm over here, safe guy Tony. I'm like, let's just think about this for a while. Like when I say a while, let's think about, I have an idea. Let's think about it for 6 months before I actually think about start doing it, you know? Yep. And I got people like you sitting across the table. It's just like, we're going to obey God radically. But when you obey God radically, where that takes you in life.
Yep.
And Ben, was it your first missions trip? Was it your first time leaving the country going to India when all this happened for you?
No, I've been to Costa Rica. I've been all over Central America at this point. I mean, I've been to Nicaragua. We've been to
Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, I basically live in Mexico.
Yeah, it's basically your backyard.
It really is.
And you were 16 whenever I took you to India.
I was 16.
Yeah.
That was my first big overseas trip.
When you, and I want you to get into this because when you told me this, we were driving your pickup truck over to the church and I was like, I think I told you then, I said, next time your dad comes to my studio, you have to come too, because I don't want your dad telling this story. I want you telling this story. And so was it that you guys got kidnapped on the same trip?
We had a whole lot of things happening, but yes, that was a trip we got kidnapped.
Okay,
Yes.
so before we get to the kidnapping.
It's a great bonding experience.
It really was.
It's part of the Brewer family plan of
how can do sweet 16s.
Yeah, exactly.
We got kidnapped, you know?
We go through kidnappings. No big deal.
When our kids turn 16, we arrange for them to be kidnapped and almost sacrificed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it was a glorious trip.
So I'll let you take the reins on this, Ben. I want you to tell people how this all unfolded, where you almost get sacrificed in India.
Okay.
Because it's a wild story.
So we'll start from the beginning, obviously. So Dad tells me about 3 months before we left. It's like, hey, I'm going to take you to India. I'm going in 3 months and it'll be great. It'll be your first time going across the seas. We'll see how you do, all that fun stuff. I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. No big deal. You know, I'm so used to traveling at this point because like I said, we've been traveling. I've been traveling with you since I was
and
like
you were,
6.
And you were actually playing in my band then.
Yeah, it was.
So the deal was, which I don't mean to interrupt, but
No, you're
the
good.
deal was we were going to be there. We're going to be there for 3 weeks, and we're literally going all the way around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we went all the way to India, and then after that's over with, we were going to go to England, and we did, and meet the rest of the band there, and then we did a tour of England with our band,
Okay.
and we played all over England. So I'm like, this would be like the greatest trip in the world for this kid, man.
And it was. I had a great
was.
time. I mean, I almost died a few times, but it was great.
Yeah.
I had the time of my life.
Near death. It was awesome.
Last name Brewer makes sense.
Yeah. So we flew from DFW to California. From California, we went to Singapore. And then from Singapore, we went to Mumbai. Yeah. Mumbai, then to Hyderabad, and then Visakhapatnam.
Yep.
Which all my Indian friends were going to make fun of me for saying that way because apparently I don't say it right. But
And we were using somebody's miles. That's why we had to do all that.
yeah. So, but so we get there, and of course, I'm a bright-eyed 16-year-old kid, first time in India. So I'm walking around, hanging out. Well, I learned very quickly that if you're fat and white and like to talk, you're almost like a god there. They love you.
Definitely a rock star.
Yeah, they love you. Like you could stop traffic just by saying hello. Like it's hilarious. And so I quickly figured that out since I'm somewhat of a social butterfly.
But did you have anybody touring you around, or were you just on your own?
Yeah. So so in India they have the caste system, and so they have servants, and they have like if your father was a servant, you'll also be a servant type thing.
So
or if your father was a merchant, you'll be a merchant.
So it's like culturally approved slavery.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Gotcha.
Which we're not
10,000%.
fans of, but it's not our culture. So
Yeah.
I had a specific kid that was my servant that was supposed to take me out and show me around Vizag because I was supposed to be gone for like 2 hours because I heard they had this awesome fish market. And I was like, I'm going to go see really cool fish I've never seen before. I love fishing, love the aquatic stuff. So I was like, yeah, let's go do it. So we go to the fish market and we're there for about an hour. And I have a group of around 10,000 people surrounding me because I'm talking to everyone. And in India, there's 1 million people per square mile.
Whoa.
Like
Yeah.
just
In the place where we're at, there's
Yeah.
a million people.
so when I say there's 10,000 people surrounding me wanting to talk to me, I'm not joking. Like there was like there was a huge crowd that I couldn't even count.
And once the crowd starts, everybody starts running to the crowd to see what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And all it is just a fat white guy.
Wow.
That's all it is.
But they're all
Texas.
amazed.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're all amazed by me. So they're like grabbing my fat rolls and they're like,
Really?
dude, you're so fat. How'd you get so fat? And I think that's hilarious. Well, about an hour in, I noticed my guy's gone. I'm like, where'd my brother go? Like, where did he go? And so I'm sitting there for about another hour and I have like these lines in front of me where people just coming up, shaking my hand and saying hello to me. And I'm hanging out with all these old ladies at the fish market, having a great time talking
So
to them.
bad.
It was great.
Yeah, it's great. I mind you, I've lost him now.
Yeah, I'm talking
Okay,
to
he's
myself.
supposed to be back in an hour. He's 16 years old. Dad, we're going to go over here to the fish market. So hour goes by, 2 hours goes by, 3 hours goes by, 10 hours goes by.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've lost my son in India.
My wife's gonna kill me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and in this line comes up this priest. He's a Hindu priest. He speaks really good English. He's like, hey, how's it going? What are you guys doing here? I was like, oh, I'm here because we have an orphanage here. I'm here just to check on the kids, make sure everything's good. And while I'm doing that, I'm just checking out Vizag. I love this place. It's awesome. I love your culture. I love the food, which is a lie. The food that we ate at the time was not good. We've had good Indian food since, but we had some rough food.
That wasn't the best.
No. But he's like, well, have you checked out any of our temples? It's like, no, I haven't had time to. And again, I'm 16 and an idiot. I should have known better, but I obviously did not. And he's like, well, we have this warrior god that I'm a priest of, and I would love to take you on a tour. And like they have a temple everywhere you look. Like every other building is a temple. So I'm like, probably like a little shrine or something. That'd be cool. Just go check out. I got nothing else to do. I can't find my guy. I have no idea where I'm at. Like, well, what else am I going to do? I'll eventually find my way back and it'll be fine. And so he takes me over to this temple, and it is this big, beautiful building. It's got rubies in it. It's got sapphires in it. Like it's one of their really big temples. Well, we walk in. Again, I had so many red flags. I should have known, but I did not. I walk in, and the first thing I notice is the smell of death. And if you smell anything dead or decaying, you know the smell. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. But whatever. So I walk in and I'm talking to the priest and we're having a good time. We're laughing and everything's cool. They take us into the sacrificial room and I see blood all over the floor. I was like, I just missed a sacrifice. Man, I would have loved to see him kill a cow. That'd be hilarious. Not thinking they're Hindus and they don't believe in killing animals, right? None of this is going through my brain. I'm just thinking they just killed a cow or something like that. I'm like, dude, that'd been so funny to watch. I can go back and tell Dad. Dad would think it's hilarious.
Hindus don't believe in killing animals.
No, because they reincarnate into them.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. That's really getting interesting now.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the high priest and he's like, yeah, about 3 or 4 hours ago, we had a sacrifice and our God is pleased and this, that, the other. Well, I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these statues of monkeys, like this 6-armed monkey god. I'm like, oh, that's funny. This must be their god. And I look down and I remember I'm wearing a shirt that says it's all fun and games until the flying monkeys attack. Their warrior god is a flying monkey that has 6 arms. It just...
All right. Let me ask you, where is this shirt from and why were you wearing it?
It was from the Wizard of Oz and it was just a little stick figure and it was a flying monkey taking off with the stick figure's back.
Wow.
Like it was just a funny shirt.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not great. That's probably something I should, go find another shirt or something. But it's like, I'll be fine. So I'm talking to the priest and he introduces me to the high priest and he's like, oh, well, it's good to meet you. Where are you from? I was like, I'm from Texas. And we talked for about 10 minutes and he's like, so would you be interested in joining us for a sacrifice? It's like, that would be awesome. I would love to do that.
It's like me and his mama are cousins or something. He has no brain. He's 35 now. Okay. The brother's 35 now. But this makes total sense to him as a 16-year-old. We are in the middle of nowhere in Vishakhapatnam, India, and he's decided on his own to just start touring the whole city by himself.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
No.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah. Get on with it. What happened?
So long story short, the high priest is super excited, right? He's like, oh, this would be awesome. Our God would be so pleased. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever, man. I'm down for whatever. And so they're like, well, we need to get you dressed in holy garments and everything else. So they call in a tailor, and a professional tailor comes in, does measurements, all that other stuff, starts getting my full body suit, is what I'm going to call it, ready. And about 2 hours goes by while he's working on it, everything else. And all of a sudden, the servant that had left me by myself for about 8 hours at this point finally shows back up and he's like, hey, we got to go. I was like, I needed to go like 6 hours ago. Yeah. Well, now I'm about to do a sacrifice thing. He goes, no, your dad won't like that. You should probably go get your dad first. And I was like, okay. So like, it's been about 8 hours. I probably should check in, I was like, okay. So I tell the high priest, like, hey, I have to go get my dad because I'm sure he'll want to be a part of this. And he goes, is your dad as fat as you are? I was like, oh, he's fatter than I am. And he goes, because over there, it's a big compliment to be fat because that means you can actually eat, which means you have money or you have power or something like that. And so the high priest gets all giddy. He's like, oh, there's going to be 2 fat white Americans here for the sacrifice. This would be great. Everybody's going to love this. So I go get back in the rickshaw with my guy. And he's like, do you know how I found you? I was like, well, I stood at the same place for 4 hours. So I thought you'd find me there. And he goes, no, I couldn't get through the crowd to get to you. I was like, well, how'd you find me? He goes, I heard there was a fat white American about to get sacrificed. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, they're Hindus. I was like, okay.
Radical Hindus.
Yeah. He's like, they don't sacrifice animals. They sacrifice people. I was like, no, they don't. He goes, just before you got there, they sacrificed an infant.
Whoa.
I was like, oh, okay. So we get back to the hotel or to the orphanage, and obviously my dad rips me a new one. but yeah, that's how I almost got sacrificed.
Okay. So in India, there is a practice where they will sacrifice infants. And is this like legal, culturally acceptable, or how does that work?
Yes and no. It's kind of like the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil thing.
Mm.
If you don't see it, they don't really question it.
Okay.
Oh, but it goes on.
Yeah.
It goes on big time.
Wow.
Yeah, it does. So yeah. So he gets back and there he says, "Now I am not knowing. I was thinking he was going to be sacrificed." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then he told me all this. I'm like, "What? You were signing up for a sacrifice and you didn't know that you were the sacrifice?" Like, no, I didn't really know, Dad. I don't know. I just thought it was something cool. I didn't know.
I didn't think anybody sacrificed people anymore.
I thought you were ready for India. It turns out I was dramatically wrong.
Yeah, and this is how we started out our
Yeah,
trip.
that was how
we
it
were there for
started.
2 days at this point.
Wow.
And we had 3 weeks to
Yeah,
go.
we were there.
You were there for 3 weeks.
Yeah, we were there for 3 weeks.
Wow. So the priests, did they ever come looking for you or anything?
No, we didn't have no more trouble out of them. So,
Okay, that's good.
no, and then we left and all of that. We didn't have any more trouble out of them. But we did have, because of that heavy. I'm telling you that the witchcraft that he walked in on in that
Yeah.
stuck with us through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And we nearly got killed over and over and over again on that same exact trip.
So
The same trip.
So the just being in that temple and honestly, like preparing your body,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
because even though you didn't know, you were willingly preparing your body to be a sacrifice in a ritual
Yep.
for a demonic entity. That doesn't just stay there when you leave.
No, it sticks with you.
Yeah. So even on the last day, and in the midst of between that day and the last day, he got sick, the sickest he's ever been in his whole life.
Yep.
Because of something he ate. And we were literally out in the jungle when that happened. I mean, it was just, it's a miracle he didn't die. His fever was like 107,
108, you die.
107 degrees. And then, but then on the last day that we were there was, to me, the scariest thing out of everything that happened on that trip. And I have been to India like 30 something times. And this trip was so different. It was like so crazy. But the last day that we were there, we went to go it was so hot during the daytime. It got up to like 116 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so everything's shut down there in the day, and they have their church services at night. And even though we're going to fly out the next day, we're flying to France, and then from France we're going to England, and we're going to meet my wife and the band near London, and we're playing in a bunch of churches, and it's going to be awesome. They got this preaching gig for me that's like at midnight, okay? And we were, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours away from where our house was and where the orphanage and where our kids' home is. And the guy says, after my gig is over with, he says, "Hey, we just had some land given to us, and we want you to go out there and pray over it." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Where is it?" And he says, "Well, it's just down the road." And I'm like, "Okay, we'll go down there." We walk and we walk and we walk and we keep on walking and keep on walking and keep on. Dude, we're going across these fields. And I'm like, "Bro, where is this land at? Like, I can't even see the village anymore." "Oh, it's just here. It's just here." And we were walking, and it's pitch dark. And dude, there's cobras out there, and there's madness out there.
And we're in the middle of the jungle.
And bro, in the dark, I'm talking about dark, dark, dark. And I'm getting madder and madder and madder, thinking, now we've been walking for like an hour, and I'm like, I got to walk an hour back. We got to drive back 3 or 4 hours, and I got to get ready for a big plane ride. And I'm like, yeah. And I kept getting madder and madder. And I finally got so mad, Tony, I just said, "Stop." And we stopped. And so we'd come out of the trees, and we were going across this field. He said, no, it's just a little bit further. I told him, I said, "I am not taking another step." And I yelled at him and said, "Do not move your feet." And he's just like, "What?" Like, "Do not move your feet. Get me a rickshaw. Get on your phone and call me a rickshaw right now." And he goes, "Okay." So he did. And they call a rickshaw. And I said, "Well, no, I'm not moving. I'm not moving another inch. I'm done. I'm not moving anymore." So I start praying for this guy's field and yada, yada, yada. I can see this little bouncing light coming across the field, and it's this, kind of motorcycle rickshaw thing. They get up, and when the light shines, I am closer than me to you from a giant hole in the ground that we were about to walk right off into, that is 70 feet deep, and I don't know, like 30 feet across or something.
Yeah, it was 80 foot deep and 20 across.
Yeah, it's 80 feet deep and 20 feet across. And it was so dark we couldn't see it. We were inches, and I was standing there next to my 16-year-old son from this gigantic, monstrous hole. And I went, "What is that?" And I went, And man, we all started backing up. And I was like, what is it? He goes, yeah, this is the borehole, he
The
called it.
bore well. Yeah.
I forgot about the bore well that they're digging out here. And dude, we nearly we were inches away from that. And we stood there. It probably took at least 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes for that rickshaw to get to us. And we stood right there and I was yelling out, I'm not moving another inch. It was God coming upon me saying, do not move your feet another inch.
Whoa.
And that to me was the scariest thing. That was the only time that I was really freaked out. Like, I cannot believe if we would have stepped off into it, we would have just fell for 8 stories, not knowing what in the world we were falling into in the pitch darkness, and it'd have been over. And that was the last day that we were there. That was the level of witchcraft that was on us. People would just lose their mind and lead us into.
So he wasn't doing that on purpose. He just
No. He just lost his mind.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He just lost his mind, just was out of his tree. And then the next day, when we left there, we had to go from Vishakhapatnam all the way to Bombay. And
we had to stop in Hyderabad.
We had to stop in Hyderabad. And then we went to Bombay. And then when we were in Bombay, we had to go from the domestic airport to the international airport. And that's when we got kidnapped.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got kidnapped when you were trying to leave?
Yeah.
Whoa. How'd that all happen?
That was the next day.
So you're saying this is the next day. So you almost die by falling into a hole.
Yep.
And the next day, this whatever Ben you brought on the family
That's exactly right.
was not done.
That's right.
Wow.
And then the next day is when we got kidnapped. And then after we survived that, we flew to France. And while we were landing in Paris, lightning hit our plane when we were just a couple of 100 feet off the ground. I don't know. And we were a couple of 100 feet off the ground about to land. And if we weren't just a couple of 100 feet off the ground, because the power went off of the plane.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we nearly died in France.
So the plane just had to glide to a landing.
It was everything went, the lightning that hit the plane was so fierce. And so it was crazy. It was the biggest boom I've ever heard in my life. I had my face in the window looking for the Eiffel Tower, and all of a sudden it just turned white, and there was this huge boom. And I mean, everybody was buckled up, and we're prepared for landing. And it's a big giant jet airliner, and it very much damaged the plane. Very much damaged the plane.
When you see the stewardess start freaking out, you know something's wrong.
You could smell smoke.
Yeah, she wasn't used to that herself.
Everybody was scared of a fire on the actual plane, and because you could smell smoke. I mean, you could smell a fire inside the plane, and that was big emergency exit, whole 9 yards, and that was the next day.
Whoa!
No, this devil man was trying to kill us.
Whoa!
He was trying to kill us. And
all
you
right.
missed, devil. You missed.
Yeah, it continues clearly.
Yeah.
I doubt the efforts have been letting up. Before, because I want to find out how this whole kidnapping thing happened, because I don't think I've ever actually heard the story. Because I think we got to the church, and you're like, "Oh, and I was kidnapped." I was like, "Oh, what?"
It was brief.
Could you just keep the mic closer to your mouth? Because I see him going back and forth, and I just wanted to make sure.
I'm sorry about that, man. I'm sorry, Jack.
Yeah, I'm blaming him, but I just want to make sure that we're catching every word. But so you said it was brief. What happened? Like, how did that happen? All right, let's take a second to talk about our sponsor today, which is Quince. And I'm telling you, friends, I'm excited about this sponsor. It's a new sponsor, and it's because I have zero style. The guys here at the office will tell you that. I often come walking in here in black t-shirts on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because I don't know how to dress myself, and that is where Quince comes in. Quince has the everyday essentials that you can love with quality that lasts. Organic cotton sweaters, polos for every occasion, lighter jackets that keep you warm in changing seasons. The list goes on and on. Quince works directly with top factories and cuts out the middleman, so you're not paying for brand markup, just quality clothing. Everything is built to hold up to daily wear and still look good season after season. Plus, they only partner with factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. And I ordered my own Quince order just a few weeks ago. I absolutely love the way the material feels. I got a wool coat that just feels great. It looks great. I also got shoes that came in that just are super comfortable. My wife picked them out with me, so I know they look good. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/Tony for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Tony. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Tony.
Well, we had to go once we got to Bombay, we had to go from the domestic airport to the international airport. And so you got to go through this. And there's typically a train from there, which was what we were planning on doing, but the train was broke. And
it just broke before we got there. Right before we landed.
There's a girl that we rescued as a teenager, and she was a missionary there during that time, rescuing kids. And so I thought, well, maybe, and I was thinking about, maybe we'll go see her. Maybe we'll do this. But I was like, man, we don't have time. We just need to get there. And so once we found out that we had to figure out a ride over there, so we just went to the regular taxi place, and there's a big line of people. And I saw these guys, and they're eyeballing me and Ben. And I saw that. And the red flags went off for me. And I've traveled so much since then. And this was a long time ago. This is, again, he's 35 and
almost 20 years.
Yeah. So this is 19 years ago. Wow. Mm-hmm. And so, but with all that said, a taxi pulled up. We did everything the way that you're supposed to do it. We get in the taxi, we start driving off, and the guy doesn't speak English. And so he's not talking, but he's acting real weird. He's not acting friendly at all. He's real stiff, and he's driving, and me and Ben are in the back seat. And I start to notice the town of Bombay is not getting nicer and nicer as it would next to an international airport. There'd be nice hotels, the slum is getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I just start praying, and in just a short, quick prayer, I'm like, Lord, talk to me about this. And I immediately knew we're about to get kidnapped. I'm like, this guy's taking us into a bad place. Mm-hmm. And then we go a little bit further, and the Lord showed me three things. He showed me a dude on the side of the road, him getting in the car, that this guy was going to pull over and pick him up, and that this guy was going to turn around and rob us or stab us, or there was going to be some kind of violence. And as soon as I thought that thought, I looked, and way up the road, I could see this guy on the side of the road trying to flag down this car. And I told Ben, get ready for anything. And he goes, what? And I said, get ready. Do you remember when I said that to you?
Yeah. So mind you, I was also recovering because I was in a coma for 3 days on this trip too.
Yeah. There was
something I ate.
When he got sick. So, but
yeah. So he tells me this, and I was like processing, like, what do you mean get ready for anything? Like, we're going to the airport. Like, I'm still not fully recovered mentally from being in a coma.
I told him, I said, Ben, that guy is I said, this driver's fixing to pull over and pick up that guy up there. And Ben goes, what guy? And right as he said that, he pulled over. He just went real fast, and that guy jumped in, and then he took off. He starts driving like a maniac. And the guy that he just picked up turned around on his knees, grabbed a hold of Ben, mm-hmm. starts slapping Ben around and yelling and screaming and hollering at him. And I mean, all this happened in just
like 10 seconds.
10 seconds. All of a sudden, this guy is assaulting my son. And this guy's driving like a maniac. He's turning down all these roads, and these guys are taking us somewhere, and they're going to sell us. They're kidnapping us, and they're going to want a ransom. And I mean, we're going down the road, and and Ben kind of looks over at me, and Ben had some money in his pocket, mm-hmm. right? Didn't you have some money in your pocket?
I had my passport, and I had money in my pocket.
And the guy got it.
Yeah, he got the money. He didn't get the passport.
And so the guy took the money out, and he's telling us, and he's yelling at us and hollering at us, and he's telling us how this is going to go down. He's taking us. You just shut up. You better be cooperative. We'll kill you. We'll do this. We'll do that, and all that. And then it's like, what do I do, Dad? And then I'll let you tell the story.
He looks at me dead in the eyes and goes, just punch him.
I'm like, I heard God tell me not. I heard God tell me, you need to beat his eyes shut. You don't need to let this go down. And God just like hit him. And I told Ben, punch him. And dude, Ben hauled off. Again, he's just a boy. He's just a kid.
I'm a screamer.
He is a screamer. Ben hauled off and about knocked this guy's lights out. And Ben starts fighting back to this guy. And I reached up and grabbed a hold of the driver and I grabbed his Adam's apple. And I just put the clamp on him. I grabbed a hold of his hair and I grabbed a hold of his Adam's apple. And I'm squeezing and he's got, he's kicking. Now the car's going to wreck. And the guy slams on the brakes so hard that the dude hits the windshield. The guy that was turned around, he went backwards and he hit the windshield. And then the fight was on, man.
Whoa.
We just
pulled a Johnny Cash.
Yeah, just two Texan cowboys.
So, man, we started brawling, man. And I'm talking about brawling, fighting for our lives, man.
Wow.
And I tell Ben, I could see, and we're in the worst neighborhood you can imagine. We're in the slums of Bombay, where there is literally 1 million people per square mile there. And everybody's seeing this thing. Well, this guy jumps out and he jumps out and he's limping off and he's yelling and hollering at all these people. And Ben gets out and I tell Ben, look, there is another, because now what I'm going to do is I beat this guy up. I'm commandeering this taxi. We're driving off, man. And I don't know where we're at. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know where we're at, but I'm going to drive. Like, I'm getting the heck out of here. And so as I am making the move to do that, another taxi, and you have no idea how miraculous this is because we're in the worst slum. He's coming down the road. And I tell Ben, stop that guy, get that guy to stop. And so Ben stops him. And the guy looks over the window. I am choking this guy nearly to death. Okay. I mean, this guy cannot breathe. And he looks over. He thinks that Ben and I are robbing him.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't know, like, no, this guy's robbing us. He's like, it does not look like he is robbing you. Like, no, we're not letting him. And he was kidnapping us. They were taking us to some terrible place, yada, yada, yada. And the guy's like totally terrified. God did a tremendous miracle. We get in the vehicle with this guy, and this guy is so scared seeing that we just beat the snot out of these other guys.
He goes, listen, I'm a good Muslim. I have a family. Please do not hurt me. I was like, we're not going to hurt you.
He started showing us pictures of his wife. He was driving. He was so scared because we were hyped up now.
Yeah.
And we're all beat up and we're all,
yeah,
we've been in a brawl.
You're in the middle of an adrenaline pump.
Yeah, man. And the guy's like, look, I have a wife. I was like, bro, listen, that guy was robbing us, man. They were literally kidnapping us. They've driven us now for miles and miles and miles and telling us that where they're going to take us. And if we cooperate, we won't die. And who can we call to get money and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, and the Lord just intervened, man. Yeah, I want you to know, Leanna was like, I will never allow.
Yeah, she was
not
not pleased.
But it was his fault. It was all his fault.
He's 16. It's his fault.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the teenager's fault.
I mean, in all honesty, 20 years later, it was your fault.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it wasn't the only time. I mean, it's just kind of been a part of our walk because we've been a part of such dangerous things and rescuing kids all over the world. You will see supernatural things and you will get in life-threatening situations. And I don't covet that. I don't like that. But it was like a normal gig for us with him growing up. Yep. I mean, we got pulled over by the cartel one time in the Chihuahuan desert. And I had my wife, I had my kids, Daryl and Mindy Knight were with me.
And Renee.
And also they had their kids with them, right?
Yeah.
And we had taken over this home for Talamahara Indian children. And we heard about it and we went to go see it. Well, Daryl and I went to go see it and went to go check on it because the guy that was running the place wasn't cashing his checks anymore. And so the guy that actually ran it or owned it said, would you mind going down there? You guys live in Texas. Would you guys mind driving 16 hours to La Creel, Mexico, find this place and see what's going on because there's no way to communicate. So Daryl goes down there and it's like the Lord of the Flies. The dude has died that runs the place and the teenage kids are taking care of the little kids. And it's crazy. They're starving to death. They are literally starving to death. And there's no the septic system has destroyed. We got a great story about that, but it was like all these kids are about to die. And Daryl found it. Daryl drove all the way back home, came and got us. We all went down there, and Daryl and his wife ended up spending 6 weeks there without leaving. And we started figuring out about this home. What do we do? How do we take care of these kids? It's in the context of that, we're coming back from that. And dude, the Chihuahuan desert is no joke. I mean, it's just this vast desert. And then you come into Big Bend National Park, which is the Big Bend of Texas, right? And so, man, we're driving and we're going to cross the desert. It's nighttime and you can't see any cars in front of you. You can't see any cars behind you. Man, I'm just smoking driving. I'm doing literally 100 miles an hour. I'm just cruising. And I come over this hill and these headlights hit us. And there are all these vehicles across the road and we have to go, and then these guys have got fully automatic guns. I got my beautiful wife. I got Daryl's beautiful wife. We have this girl with us named Renee, who's been friends of ours for forever. And then I got my kids, and these guys put guns on us, and they're going to murder us.
All your kids?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're going to murder us. And dude, it was scary. That was actually really scary. We get out and trying to figure out the situation. They're violent. They're scary. And they're looking at all of our girls. And it's not good. Well, while we're out there, and I literally got my hands up, I'm like, whoa, don't, hey, it's all good. Listen, we're missionaries. We're down here taking care of kids. We love Mexico. We love your children. We're down here taking care of, and dude, it's bad. And Renee was still in the vehicle. And I don't know if she was with you or
she was with Luke.
How old were you when this happened?
9 or 10.
Yeah, you're 9 or 10.
Oh shoot! So India was not you were already warmed up and primed for India.
Dude, no, this has been going for a long time. No,
now it makes sense that you're I'll see a sacrifice.
Yeah, no, he'd been, yeah. So anyway, man, we
just another day.
Anyway, they tell Renee to get out, and she was holding Luke, and Luke is now 32, I think.
Yes.
And Luke was a baby then, and he was little, and he's 4-year-old or something. They pull him out. They pull her out and they start talking to her. Well, she is this beautiful, beautiful girl. And she's got long black hair. And she looks Hispanic, but she's not. She's from Alaska. Okay. And so, she's whatever, Cree Indian or something. And so they're like, how come you're not speaking Spanish? I'm like, what? And then this guy talked in English. He wants to know why you're not talking Spanish. And she said, because I don't speak Spanish. And they said, you're not a Mexican? She said, I ain't no Mexican. I'm an Eskimo. And the guy laughed whenever she said that, and he started laughing. And then he translated into Spanish, and he says, in Spanish, he says, she says she's not Mexican. She says she's an Eskimo. And then they all start laughing. And then this weirdest thing, Tony, happened while we're standing there, because none of us are laughing. We're all just standing there looking, and they start laughing, and then they laugh more, and then they laugh more, and they laugh more and more and more. And then it's like they can't breathe. And then they just start waving us on. It's like, you guys just got to go. You guys just got to go. And they're laughing, and we all go, and we get in the car, and I just drove right through them, and I could see them in the rearview mirror out there in their headlights, laughing their heads off.
It wasn't even that funny.
It's not that funny. It was just something Jesus did for us.
Whoa.
Just this spirit of laughter where they were incapacitated because of how they were laughing. They couldn't even breathe. They were laughing so hard.
That's wild.
And they just let us go. And I mean, what was about to happen was really
They've
bad.
done it a million times.
Yeah. It was bad.
I mean, you got to think these guys probably were so callous to what they were doing. It was just their job. It was part of the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Dude.
So I wrote down here while you were telling that story, trafficking to fight those fighting trafficking. And that's what it feels like through the idea of kidnapping and the cartel. It's like the enemy's almost trying to use what you're fighting against you at times.
Yes.
And it's like this it's like this cycle.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you want to stop trafficking? Yeah. Well, I'm going to actually use those.
You're at war with the spirit of that. So, we fight not against flesh and blood, right?
Against principalities.
But against principalities, right on. And so that devil knows that we've dedicated our lives to fighting that. And consequently, because all of these people are not related in any way, and they're not even speaking the same language, they're not even on the same places on the planet. But there's a very real cartel spirit, a very real network of regional demons that are under some kind of hierarchy throughout the world. And you get on the radar, they're going to push back.
Do you think that, because you just brought up the regional demons idea, do you think that, because one, I know you know Pastor Dave Bryan, he has a story where he entered a region with his now daughter who, she was
an Indian reservation.
Yeah. So you know the story, and we had it on the show, but like there's that where it was aware that he entered its region. Do you think that there's also communication amongst these principalities that it's almost like because I don't think that they're, I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but I don't think that they're all knowing in the sense of like, they know you're coming, but could there be communication between them where it's like almost like a whisper down the alley? It's like, hey, the Brewers are coming.
No, I think somehow in the hierarchy of how that works, that the higher demons will send out smaller demons and say, report to us, do this, make sure this happens, make sure that happens. And I mean, we see that within the angelic realm, that there are like messenger angels, right? And there are like almost like foot soldier angels, right? But then there are regional, there's like, the Prince of Persia and the Prince of Greece, right? And within the demonic realm, and then Michael's showing up like, no, I'm here. And Michael seems to me to be the regional angel of Israel. So he seems to me to be, no, I'm big. Not all regional spirits are fallen. Some are holy.
Yeah.
And so sacred space is a big deal within the heavenly realms. And these spaces, these territories are claimed by both fallen and holy angels. And that's why Jesus says, go into all the world, take this into all the world and go sick them, reverse that, bring the kingdom into these regions because I want those people. And so we've taken that very serious. I've been in 58 nations, and
wow.
My wife has been in 62 or 63. And how many nations you been in, Ben? If you don't know, it's okay.
Somewhere between 45 and 50, because I've been all over Central America, most of South America, most of the Caribbean, France, England, Scotland.
And if I remember correctly, I might say this wrong, but recently, your position in the ministry has changed because, from my perspective, outside looking in, like you're traveling more and doing.
Yes,
it's like Dad needed a clone, so now it's like now
That's
we're
exactly what it is.
doubling the effort. Is that right?
Yeah. So everywhere he cannot go, I go.
Wow.
And he's been going on behalf of our kids. There's a little girl. In Mexico, the quinceañera is so important. Right. So, hey, little girl turns 15 years old. This is where you recognize her. It's her big day. And all of our rescued kids, which we rescued 908 kids last year.
Wow.
Which is nuts. 908 kids. And that's just right on pace to what we do every year. And then, of course, we raise those kids. Well, these girls coming out of trafficking, coming out of pornography, coming out of the most severe abuse of not only the physical abuse, but the mental and the spiritual abuse, and then the drug abuse, because they dope them all up. Whenever we get these kids, many times they are so addicted, and that's a big part. Imagine how traumatizing that is to get rescued, and you spend the first 6 months in a rehab, and you're just trying to figure out who you are and what life is and all that. So, man, we got to be involved in that. We got to love on these kids. We got to make them family. We got to bless them. And Ben's a huge part of that. And so he's been doing all the quinceañeras, doing the daddy dance with these 15-year-old girls, because I can't go down there and do that. And a little girl that he recently did that for, we were in, which was like a month ago or a couple of months back.
I was there December 8th.
I was there in December
13th or
14th. I go there the next week after Ben had been there with our team, and we go to the same exact home. And that girl who has been nonverbal, we've had her for 4 years. She's been completely nonverbal. She walked up to me and she spoke to me and she said, Papa Troy, I can speak English. And I was like, I didn't know you could talk. And she said, yeah, I'm talking now. And not only does she talk, she knows a bit of English, and she also, of course, she speaks Spanish. And that breakthrough happened with her through Ben's ministry and going down there and treating her like a queen. And she asked me, she said, did you see my dress? And she said, yeah. And she said, I wanted to pick a dress that I thought Papa Troy would love.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I got to experience a piece of this stuff with you guys when we were filming The Counter.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you probably know the information better than I do, but from what I remember, there were 2 girls that you guys were working on saving, and while we were filming, you got word.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, and they were saved while we were filming, right? And then we got that confirmation they were safe.
We actually even got it on camera. And I don't know, I'll have to send that to you. I'll have to send that. We put together like a 15-minute behind the scenes of the making of The Counter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was very difficult. And so the easy part is when you rescue a child, you bring them in their home and you love them and they're awesome. The difficult part is when there is a court case, which we hope there is every time. But the difficult part is when not only are you rescuing the child and not only are you committing to raise that child for the rest of their life and take care of them however they need it, but you're also committing to making sure that the traffickers and the cartel people that were involved in that they get thrown under the prison. And that's another huge part of our ministry. So this last year, there was somewhere around 370 court cases that we actually did. The court cases were filed, and then we work with the prosecuting attorneys, and we also work with the attorney generals of the states in whatever nation. But I'm just going to lift up in Mexico right now. So we have huge relationships with the attorney generals and with the prosecuting attorneys. Okay. In the midst of that, we make sure that they have everything that they need. And also in the midst of the investigation, before the child is actually rescued, we make sure that they have everything that they need to be able to document, knowing we want to end the cartel here. We do want to just rescue the kid, but we also want to stop this. Mm-hmm. And that is so difficult because when that happens, those guys, when you're working with the federal government, those guys will be watching and documenting the atrocities that are taking place to these kids. And I can't stand it. I just no, we got to rescue these kids right now. Like we haven't built the case yet. We can rescue the child, but we will not be able to shut this down. And once you turn that over to the federal government, as I had, it's up to them when they do this. And I had got mad because I had looked, this one little girl was a 12-year-old. And the day before this had happened, they documented how many visits did she have that day. Do you remember? It was some crazy number.
It was over 400.
No, I'm talking about on the day.
Oh, on the day.
I'm talking about on the day.
I don't remember.
It was crazy. It was like 20-something people had molested her that day.
Wow.
And I'd been looking at this little girl for a long time. I was aware of this little girl. And I got mad. And I got mad. And I told the attorney general, if you do not rescue this child right now, if you don't, I will have my team go in there and rescue that. And it's going to mess up everything. I told her, I respect you and I love you. And you're an amazing woman. And I praise God for you. And you're an authority here. I'm not, but I'm an authority in the spirit. And we're not going to sit back and watch this happen anymore. Go get those girls. And she said, okay, Pastor Troy, I'll see what I can do. And I really didn't think she was going to. And while we were filming The Counter, we got those girls.
Wow, I didn't know the backstory on that.
Yeah. And the court has happened. Whole 9 yards has happened. There was dozens of arrests. It ended up being a national thing. It actually opened up a door for me to speak to Congress. So when I went and spoke to Mexico's Congress this last year, it was because of that case. And they're like, hey, and now they invited me to come and speak to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be speaking to I have a forum with the World Cup in Mexico City on February, and they're expecting 1 billion people to view that.
Whoa.
And they're asking
Oh,
me to
yeah.
talk about the fight against trafficking in Mexico City.
Just make sure you say odx.tv.
ODX.TV.
Wow.
So yeah, but yeah, we were actually filming the counter whenever that came through, and it blew my mind. Do you remember how happy we were? Do you remember Swanee?
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
because-
She was crying. She
Well,
was
it's
so
because
emotional about it.
It's the hardest thing, man. We've rescued way over 12,000 kids now, and the hardest thing of all of that is when things have to be documented and you have to read the files, or you hear the tape, or you see the video, and you have to be a part of the court thing. That I don't recommend that to any human being living. Even the attorney generals, that is their job. It tears them up. It just, in the prosecuting attorneys, it tears them up like what you cannot imagine. And then it's like, those two girls, I know those girls. Those girls are my girls now.
Mm-hmm.
I know them and I love them. Ben knows them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that, I think that that's so prophetic that actually happened while we were filming.
Yeah, I mean,
the counter.
Because I mean, what's the whole reason for the counter is to raise funds to continue to fight against human trafficking.
Yeah, and it was like the Lord's like, yeah, this is going to happen, Troy. I'm going to bless it, and He has. So the model that we have for that is the first 30 minutes is free on YouTube, and then if you want to watch the rest of it, then you sign up for odx.tv, and then. And again, we've had over 3,000 people that have signed up, and that is so helpful.
Yeah.
So help. I can't even tell you. It's just crazy.
That's wild. That's absolutely wild. When I was there and seeing those girls get saved and the emotion behind it, it really kind of just, it really put it in perspective as to what we were doing. And I just saw a little piece of it. You guys have years of doing this and, thousands of stories. And I was just like, man, like there's something here that's needed that the world doesn't really even understand is happening yet.
How that whole thing came about is also really interesting. It's nuts. And it comes from the ice cream truck.
Yep.
Is what that comes from. Do you remember the whole ice cream truck, man?
I do.
So what had happened was part of our teams and part of the people that we support, they were on the dark web and they're monitoring these kids and they're monitoring the Americans that are coming across the border to come after these kids. And they're monitoring this. And they talked to this guy, and this guy who got in on it, and he gets to looking at these pictures of these kids. So what they have is they have pictures of kids that they already have in captivity, and then they go onto the web and they get on these dark websites and yada yada yada. And if you're surfing the web long enough, you'll end up, especially if you're involved in pornography, it teaches you how to do this. The longer you spend on it, it teaches you how to surf the dark web, and it's designed like that. And then you end up getting contacted. And then when you get contacted, they're like, hey, we got this kid. You like this kid? You like this kid? And then you go down to the border, and then you get on Instagram or whatever. And then they contact you. You want this? Yes. And then they come across the border. They pick you up and you go across the border. You spend the whole day with these children. And then you go back, and then you go back across the border, and then you go back home to your wife and kids and act like nothing's happened. And I've been watching that happen, man. And especially through the Biden administration, man, whenever the borders were open, people have no idea. And we had a front row seat for it because we do a lot of work on the border, and just like, my God, how is this ever going to end? So this guy was looking, but not only do they have pictures of kids that they have abducted or kids that have been sold to them, but they also have potentials. We know where this kid is. We know where that kid is. We know where this kid is. And, you want to pay $5,000, we'll go and get them.
Jeez.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So while this friend of mine was looking at these pictures of potential kids, he looks at this one kid and goes, I know that kid. I know that little girl. And this is a guy that's in the police. And he said, and her dad is a friend of mine. And they have her picture. And I know where they live. And this is what started that whole thing. It's like, oh my gosh. So he calls the guy, brings the little girl, and they bring her down, and they're like, okay, He's like, you need to know that she's on this hit list of potentials. And we're trying to figure out where they got this picture from. And they got this picture, and he said, do you remember when they took this picture of you? And she looked at it, and she was like 11, I think. She's like 11 years old. And she said, yeah, the ice cream man took it. And so these cartel guys have these ice cream trucks. And as they're going around, and as they are giving ice cream away to kids, they're taking pictures of them. They're putting in, people are buying those kids. And then they go and abduct those children, and then they disappear.
Because they know where they live.
Yeah.
They get a smiling picture of a kid that's happy.
Yeah.
And that's their advertisement.
That's
right there.
exactly right. And so we were actually involved in shutting that thing down. And those two little girls were part of that case of two little girls that had been abducted or had been sold to them. And they were documenting who was coming to visit those kids and how often they were selling them. And I was like, that's all well and good. Praise God. But you got to go get those kids. I can't live knowing that we know about that. And so that breakthrough actually happened while we were on, while we were filming The Counter. And then we all just bawled and squalled over it.
Yeah. So you mentioned Instagram there. Is Instagram being used as part of this?
2,000%.
All the social medias are.
Really?
Absolutely.
So there's no safeguards on that?
No, mind you, they'll shut you down and they'll censor you if you say something that they don't like, but somehow they can't stop all of this pornography from happening. It's all baloney.
Wow.
It's all baloney. I'm sorry, but there's no way that that's not real. And there's no way that that's not on purpose. And so I'm very aware of it. And I have a whole, I'm very aware.
You know, I think it was about like 2 Februaries ago was the last post I made on social media with pictures of my kids. I never really thought anything of it until, because I was just like, I mean, now my mindset's a lot different now. And I think with the growth of our YouTube side of things, I'm visually realizing how many people are aware of me. But back then YouTube wasn't like that. And I was like, oh, I'm just Tony, podcaster, nobody cares, you know? And a few years prior, I was still living in Pennsylvania, and there was this guy who, way back in the day when I first started the show, it was just audio, very small audience, and I was grinding like crazy to grow the audience. And so this one YouTube channel reached out and said, he takes people's episodes, puts them on his channel, had 50,000 subscribers. And he was asking for permission because he had used to not ask for permission and he was losing his channel. So he's like, I'm just getting permission from everybody I use. And I said, I appreciate you asking. Yeah, absolutely. You know, because it was a great opportunity for me to get exposure. Some business things were made. I had signed a contract with a media company and I had to have my content solely on my channel. So I asked him to take it down, and he kind of tried. He was asking if he could pay me. I said, no, it's not about the money, man. It's just, I can't. And so he takes it down. Fast forward a couple of years later, he reaches out, and under a different name that I knew him as, and I connected dots, and he started his own podcast. And he asked if I'd come on as a guest, and I said, yeah, man, you helped me out and stuff. I wouldn't mind coming on. And so we scheduled to come on, and for about an hour, he couldn't get his tech to work, and I ran out of time. And I said, hey, we'll have to reschedule to do this. And you understand this, but a lot of people that are either just beginning or aren't in what I do don't understand. Like I know the question goes through, how busy could you really possibly be? You know, like I'm insanely busy just trying to keep everything I do afloat back then and especially now. And so it was hard to reschedule. So it basically fell off. He felt a certain way about it and started trashing me in comment sections. Okay, I'm getting to a story here. But so again, this is back in Pennsylvania, and I was a lot less mature and more hot-headed. And I was still trying to learn how to deal with people's perspective and opinion of me when they're complete strangers. And so he started saying things in comment sections about me, just nasty things that weren't true. And so I called him on Facebook Messenger, and he answered, and I was ripping into him. I was probably cussing him up and down, and it was probably like 2-3 minutes. And and I stopped for a second and it's completely silence. I'm like, I look at the phone. He had hung up. I didn't even know how long he heard. And I was like, "Gah!" But now fast forward to a couple of years ago on Instagram, I haven't heard from him, nothing. And I posted a picture of my kids and he popped in and he goes, I hope one day they understand what kind of father they actually have. And I was like, oh, you son of a gun. And so I blocked him. And at that point, I was just like, my kids aren't going on social media anymore. So for the rest of until they're 18, I mean 18, like I don't care. You're saying, oh, my friends. No, I don't care. Your friends don't have a dad that you have. So until you're 18, you can make your own decisions. The world will always look at you as a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And that's just the way it is.
Smart.
But now hearing what you're saying, there's a whole other level of protection to that.
Yeah.
So people who are putting their kids on social media and stuff, I mean, we're not here to tell them what to do and stuff, but there are probably precautions you can take, like making your private account and stuff.
It's not all your friend. You know,
yeah.
Just because you have the freedom to do something doesn't mean that it's friendly to you. And we know the other side of it. And I'm just telling you, man, I've got every kind of social media there is, you know. I've had 23 million views. And we just hit 23 million views on YouTube. I posted a tweet on Saturday that you saw that had 1.9 million views on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty daggone crazy. That's nuts right there. And I praise God for that, because I've got a message, and what I do is so much bigger than me. It takes a whole tribe from people all over the world to pull this thing off.
Mm-hmm.
And I praise God for it. And I love it. Now that I've said that, man, I don't trust it as far as I can throw it.
Yeah.
I do not trust it at all. And the level of death threats that we get is a big deal. I mean, I just had to put up a light, which you could land a 747 by the light of it.
Bright.
I live out in the country and I hate lights. I'm not a light guy.
Shines right in Ben's house.
Yeah, dude, it does. It does shine right. It does shine right in Ben's house.
An eye out of me.
Because these jokers find out where I live and they come out to my place and they try and get in the gate. And we had a lady actually climb over the fence, and me and my other son, who's not near as good looking as Ben is.
Amen.
But my other son, Luke, we were standing out there. I mean, we got up in the middle of the night because this lady was screaming so much. Luke happened to actually be at my house, and I was fasting, as I'm fasting right now. Day 7, baby. Right on. But I was fasting, and so I wasn't sleeping very well. And I heard this rant, and I could hear. And dude, I live out in the country, man. Have you been out to my place yet?
I haven't yet.
Dude, you got to come out. And I have a ranch out there, and it's beautiful. And so I'm like, I thought, who is that yelling? What is that? And I thought, oh man, it's down at the cul-de-sac, which I've got a gate down at the cul-de-sac. And I'm like, okay, it's down there. And I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I know what that is. That's a man and a woman. They pulled up down there. They're down there in the dark, and they're in a big old fight. And I'm like, man, because this lady is just screaming and yelling and ranting. And then I start making out some of the things that she says, and then I hear my name. And I was like, did she just say Troy Brewer? Did she just say my name? And then she's yelling all these curses on me. She's saying I'm part of the Illuminati. She's saying I'm in league with the Pope. She
was special.
Yeah, she was very special. And she's just demon possessed and out of her tree, man. So then I saw her, and my grandkids were in the house. And then I saw, this is before I had the light on down there, but she had her headlights on, and I saw through my gate, I saw her come over the fence.
Jeez.
And I went, okay. And I went back inside. I got it home to my son. We both went and got a gun. Like, I don't know how many people are coming over the fence. I don't have any idea what's going on. I called the law, and my son, Luke, we're literally standing out there in our drawers, and we got a bead on this one, but it's just a woman. And I'm like, who else is with her? Like, why would a woman come crawl over our gate and all this? And she got quiet. As soon as she came over the gate, she got quiet, and she was creeping around. She's messing around. I'm like, he was looking at her with, through a scope. And I'm like, can you tell if she has a gun or not? He goes, no, sir. And I'm like, Well, my
That's
son
actually a
is
good imitation of him.
It is
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
good
that was good.
publisher. And I was like, and so I'm talking to the police and said, I'm talking to the sheriff's department, and they're like, we'll be there. It's going to be about another 10 minutes because we live out in the middle of nowhere. And we'll be there, like 10 minutes. Just hold on for 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, she comes all the way up here to the house. This ain't going to last for 10 minutes. And so she's like, are you afraid for your life? And I went, yes, I am afraid for about, now I know I'm talking to a jury.
Yeah.
Because this is about to happen.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. I'm fixing to put the flashlight on her and tell her to drop to her knees. And this is going to go one way or it's going to go another way. And if she's got a gun, it's not going to go good. And so like, oh, King Jesus. And I'm praying. And while that, I've got the lady on speaker. Luke goes, you want me to drop her? And I'm like, no, I do not want you.
Luke,
to
I'm on
drop
trial right now, son.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do not. Like, oh my gosh, like this is a terrible situation. But anyway, we got her and she went to jail and anyway. Yeah.
So that situation, I've only ever had somebody show up at my house in the astral, which is a whole other thing.
Which I've had that too.
I've been there,
We've
done
had that. Vince had that.
I've had three people. Two, I think, were at the same time, and they were witches. The one other person was a pastor who the Lord brought to my house to show him the witches, and it was wild. But it's and obviously, like I don't have a ministry fighting human trafficking, but it is something to be said when you're doing this kind of work with what I'm doing or you guys are doing. There is demonic forces that will have a unique eye for you, and people, I'll call them normie Christians who are Sunday going church Christians. I'm not bashing it or anything like that. But it's just they're not heavily involved in very dark, heavy, oppressive spiritual matters when it comes to walking out their Christian faith, because that's not what God's called them to do, right? They will look at the situation and be like, come on. Yeah, right. How many times can something so wild happen to a family or Tony? And it's like, well, there's a unique eye. Like it's like the enemy has a unique eye for
Sauron.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
And when you enter into that realm of ministry, it's like you're a beacon of light walking into a dark room, and everything in that dark room just turns and looks at you, and it knows what you're there for. And you're walking into what they perceive as their room, to territorial spirits. And it's like, no. We're going to stop you. And that's what the manifestation of a demonically possessed woman showing up at your house. We've had emails of people. We had this one guy last year saying that on Halloween night, he was coming to my house. And I emailed him back because often it's, you don't know their actual name in the email, right? And I emailed him back a very Tennessee legal response as to what my legal rights are if you show up on my property. And he didn't show up, thankfully. But we've had lots of people over the last couple years since I've moved here, which, talking about territorial spirits, there's definitely something here that God brought me here for. And it's old, it's ancient, and it's been left undisturbed. And since we've been here, there's been so many threats or bizarre ways of threatening. A guy down in Georgia pretty much walked up to the line of legality without actually saying he's going to kill me. In North Carolina, there's two different guys. I always get them mixed up because I'm just like, they're all crazy. But this one guy, and if you're listening right now, please stop. Like, it's not going to end well. And this is, talk about supernatural. So you have stalkers. We had a lady from New York come down here, live at a rest stop for a month trying to find me. This one particular guy in North Carolina has found contact information for a business partner that wasn't public, as far as I know. Maybe it was a little public, but not like majorly public. Found out where he worked, calling his work, trying to get a hold of him to be able to talk to me. Then the guy found his wife's phone number and is texting her. Then the guy found my wife's number and is texting her pictures of rocks of importance off a Craigslist posting. And I'm telling you, but
we get it.
But when I look at it, for when I back up and I look at it, and it's like there's an annoyance to it, and there's a uncertainty because you don't know how far gone this person is and what they're willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at it, I'm like, there is a certain level, and part of me wants to say, Lord, put it on me over everybody else. But there is a certain level of like I perceive as divine protection over me because why is it that this guy can find everybody else's phone numbers except for mine? And it's like there's this unique
Psalms 91. It's Psalms 91, man. And so that's what it is. It's Psalms 91. And I tell you this, and I would tell you and all of your listeners, man, that there's something I do about all this. Okay. Can I tell you what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So number one, I have a huge advantage that a lot of people don't have, and that we work with security personnel that if you give the least amount of a digital footprint, we'll find you. I mean, quick.
Yep.
Quick. It's one phone call for me, and it is a text of something. It is just a picture of something. I sent it to them, and then it's done. You're going to get a professional phone call or a personal visit from somebody that's really scary. And they're going to show up and they're going to get in your grill and say, this is not how this is going to go. And you need to stop this. If that escalates, we know how to handle that. Okay. So I have a huge advantage. Now that I've said that, I also say this too. I say this, whenever people have an assignment against me, and if they tell me this, and so like I've had a witch tell me that he was doing all this mantra that within 6 months I would be dead. Okay. And then I said, so what's your time limit? What is that? And he said 6 months. And I said, okay, here's the assignment that is on my life. Okay. Anybody that comes against me, I unleash the Lord on them. And I'm not talking about his fury. I mean this, I kind of feel sorry for you because Jesus is coming to get you, and you're going to be a drop dead, sold out Jesus freak. And your little witch club is going to come after you. And I'm sorry for that. But God is not mocked, and you're going to reap what you sow in this. And Jesus is coming to get you. He's going to save your soul. I use this whole thing of, I'm rubber and you're glue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here it comes. Jesus is coming to get you. And I've had so many testimonies of people that tell me, dude, I hated your guts. I was going to do this bad thing to you. I was going to do this. I was going to do that. And they're like, and I got saved, and I'm sorry. And they don't even know that I have that assignment on my life. They don't even know that. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you attack me. Jesus comes to get you, makes you a part of the team. And that circle that you're with will persecute the snot out of you because God is not mocked.
Wow.
And so I walk in that. I believe it. I profess it. I'm not scared at all. I mean, of anybody or anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been, as we started this show off a couple hours ago, I mean, I raised my kids in a very dangerous situation, and because it was a calling that was on my life. And I did a lot of things that I would not do now. I was young and stupid and extremely poor and had to be very, very, very creative. And all of the, poor Ben grew up in a house that a lot of times we didn't even have electricity on in our house. That's how poor we were.
Wow.
And here we are rescuing all these kids all over the world. And here we are feeding all these people all over the world. I had a food bank, and well, then how did you fund it? I funded it any way I possibly could. We mortgaged our house 7 times. 7 times we mortgaged our home to be able to buy human beings. And because we learned how to buy human beings, and we mortgaged our home. And then I worked with other churches. I had friends. And Tony, if you were my age, and if you were my and if you were my friend back then, I had a level of hostility in me that if you wouldn't mortgage your house, don't even talk to me. You're pathetic. And I'd be like, every friend I had, I was like, you mortgage your house. Don't
like
tell me
Grandpa
you feel
Cujo.
sorry for these kids. Yeah, I would turn into Cujo. And I would get in your grill and say, why are you not doing anything about this? Well, I don't have any money. You got a house, mortgage it. Let's go. You come go with me, and you look at these kids in the face. You come sit in a room where people are holding up phones and they are bidding on children.
Whoa.
And tell me it's okay for you to sit there without mortgaging in your house. How many cars you got? Sell one of them. I mean, I was hostile. I was like the machine gun preacher. I'm old and cultured and refined now. This is the calm down, extremely nice
Honestly,
version of me.
Yeah, that's funny, but it's true.
But man, when I was when I was your age, man, and younger, when I was in my 30s and was living this life, part of my thing of not, I was supernaturally hostile.
Wow. Supernaturally hostile.
I was.
Wow.
And everybody called me a barnstormer, and I would take on hell with a water pistol. And I'd be like, that's going to end right now. And I'm the guy that's going to end it. I'm anointed to end this thing. I'm anointed to do this thing. And I didn't know what I was doing. And so I look back at my life and just look at how God's blessed it. And I thank God how many times he saved my life, and how many times all the good things, man, he's done for me. And I kind of feel sorry for God. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm sorry that I put him through it. I'm sorry I put my wife and my kids through such extreme things. I just didn't know how to do anything else. I just didn't.
For the record, I had a great time.
Yeah.
I had a wonderful time.
But all 4 of my kids are not mad at me. They've never been mad at me for rescue. They're not mad. Ben has, we have way over 5,000 kids that are under our care at this very moment. And there are over 900 kids that have my last name because they asked for it.
Wow.
And all of these kids all over the world, they call me Papa. They call Leanna Mama. And our kids have never been mad over that. They've never been jealous. They've never been mad. All 4 of my kids have worked in my ministry. 2 of them work full-time in my ministry right now. My 2 boys, my 2 girls are both nurses. They're both RNs. And all of them have traveled all over the world. All of them have their special places and their special people groups. A couple of my kids, it's India, Uganda. You just recently went to Uganda for the very first time.
3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago. And out of all these trips to Uganda, you never went, but you went to India
because I went to India.
Yeah,
so
because
much,
you're such an India
India
freak and you love India.
I still to this day love India. Like, I almost died there a lot, but it was worth every penny.
And so all my kids call me back.
He does.
Man, God has been so good to me concerning my kids. And I would say that a big part of that, you were talking about this supernatural thing that's on you. Yeah, no, it's on you. It's on you. And you've sown into it. Okay. So like I have spent my entire life rescuing other people's kids, and Jesus has rescued all 4 of mine.
Wow.
And all 4 of them married well. All 4 of them love me. All 4 of them love Jesus with all their heart. All 4 of them are great parents. Most pastors cannot say that, especially pastors that are crazy. And I can say it. And I'm just so proud of my kids and to see them. And now, and I'm best friends with all of them. I'm
awesome.
Best friends with them. They're all grown up now, and of course, and I just love it. I love it. They're not mad at me for how many times they nearly got killed. They're not mad at me for how many times I nearly got their mama killed. They just like, yeah, Dad, you're awesome. And I'm like, I am awesome. Thank you.
That's awesome. My son, he knows, when I go out of town, sometimes we're going on these hunts, right? And he doesn't totally grasp what I'm doing because he's young and and I don't want to tell him.
I don't grasp what you're doing.
Well, me neither. To be honest, it's an evolving process. But I remember, and I don't remember the story. I don't remember the story. I just remember the situation where I was sitting on the couch and I was telling him something that I did on one of my trips where we were hunting something, and the questioning he had was like, "Wait, you did what?" And it was like this little boy coming into this like new vision of who his dad was, and I'm not, but like I could see it in his eyes. He was like, "Oh, my dad's like super guy."
Yeah.
And
awesome.
I was like, how do I foster this forever? Because I want that. I want him to always look at me like that. So one of the stories I heard you talk about, and we never talked about on the show, is the Amazon prison. It is, you talk about like God intervening in a supernatural way. Like, I mean, you've talked about different situations today that to be honest with you, are on that level. The cartel laughing themselves to releasing you. You guys survived a situation that was supposed to be certain death, like intentional certain death. And I like, what even possessed? The kids weren't in the prison, were they? Like what
Yeah. There were some
No,
kids.
there is kids in that prison.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they don't have a juvenile system there. So if you're 11 years old and you get caught stealing something, they put you in big boy prison. There's 600 men in that prison, and there's 19 women in that prison.
Whoa.
And they're in the general population. The 19
Altogether.
women are. And then there's I don't know how many kids are in there, but there's
Couple
also
hundred.
kids.
Wow.
There's kids in there. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, man, this stuff is dark, bro. This stuff is dark. And when you go into that prison, there's no telling what you will see that's going on in broad daylight in front of everybody. And nobody will stop it. And it is a jungle, Colombian Amazon prison. And so we're bound and determined of we're bringing the kingdom to that prison. We got to, it is such a cauldron of hell that you cannot imagine. And we're like, no, we're getting involved. We're getting pastors. And then we're also going to use our political clout down here. We're getting people involved. These people are treated like animals. Number one, the prison is only supposed to hold 300 people, and there's like 1,000 people in it.
Wow.
And so corrupt and all this mess. So we got involved. Like, no, we're bringing heaven to this hell, and we're going to bring order in here. We're going to bring ministries in this. We're going to separate the kids and separate the women from the men. We're going to make sure that everybody's fed. We're going to get these people educated. We're going to give these people hope, and we're cleaning this thing up. We're going to clean it up. So it was a situation like that. So I go there, and I was with a pastor from Brownsville, Texas, by the name of Gene Izaghetty. And Gene Izaghetty he's a radical friend of mine. I've been doing ministry with him for 30 years. He's been to India. Of course, we've been in Mexico hundreds of times with him. Been with me all over the world. He's been with me to Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
He went with me to Nepal. We went to Nepal. We went to Kathmandu and rescued a bunch of kids. I love Gene. So we're down there, and I'm like, Gene, I want to go into this prison because we're about to start this big prison ministry gig there, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be ridiculous. Let's go. He's like, let's go, Vato. And I'm like, okay. So we go in there. And I was also with Jamie Cashin, who you met. And Jamie is a childhood friend of mine, and I love Jamie. And we go into this. Jamie is a 9th degree. He's about to be a 10th degree black belt. And there's only a couple of hundred throughout the whole planet are 10th degree black belts. And so
He knows Chuck Norris. He's friends with Chuck
he
Norris.
actually is friends with Chuck Norris. He actually, they talk to each other constantly. And so we going down in this place. The first bull out of the chute is that we're supposed to talk to the warden. And it was the strangest thing because I was talking to all the guys. We brought 170 packages of, it had soap, it had this, it had some food in it, it had practical things in it, had toothbrush, had toothpaste, and they were these sacks. And we brought 170 of them. And so, but I don't want to go in this prison without giving all the guards something. You know,
Makes sense.
and so I always do that. And so they're like, okay, well, we can't take that and until the warden gets here, and the warden will be here in a few minutes. Like, okay. A few minutes later, man, this dadgum motorcycle pulls up, and this woman that is wearing motorcycle leather with hair coming out of her helmet down past her butt. And I'm just going to just tell you this. She looks like Jessica Rabbit. Okay. She's got a waist about this big and everything else is not.
Yeah.
And she takes off her helmet, and she is the warden, and she has such a bad sexual spirit. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I looked at all the guards, and they are all scared of her. She had on how she looked was not professional. It was extremely sexual, and she was the warden of that prison.
Wow.
There is no telling what kind of bad stuff that this cartel woman is running through this prison. And I look over at all the other guards, and they're terrified of her. They won't look her in the eye. And she comes over and, how are you? And he said, hello, warden, how are you? And you could tell he's like, ooh, these guys are nervous with her. And I'm like, that is the worst Jezebel spirit I have ever seen, ever. It was so next level. It was powerful. It was sensual. It was sexual. It was very manipulative and very, very, very. It was. She was scary. So we talked to her, and she says, "Oh, you're Christians?" And I said, "Yes." "Oh, that's so nice. We love Christians." Like, "Yeah, please go, please go." And she talks to these two guards, pulls them over, says, "Go with them." And she talks to them. So we go through this prison. And I walk with these guys, and they are completely different than the other guards that we saw. And me and Jamie, and we go through one door, they lock the door behind us, and go through another door. And that's when I start seeing women there's like this one cell that has like 20, 30 guys, and there's a girl in there with her. And at first I thought it was a dude that just must have looked like a girl because they have them as well. But I'm like, no, that is a full-blown woman. And I'm like, my God. I had never seen that before. That's crazy. And then started seeing kids in other cells. And, they're just there, hey. And I'm like, hey, man. And like, oh my gosh, and they're like, keep going, keep going. We keep going. We get into this big room. They open up this door, and it is a room that doesn't have a roof because they won't let these people go outside. But it's kind of like being outside because it doesn't have a roof.
Like a big courtyard?
Yes, big old courtyard. It's right in the center of this prison. And it's also where they all wash their clothes at. Has these washing stations where everybody washes their clothes. And it's full of people. And so we go into this room, and the guards slam the door behind us, kabam! And I mean, I jump, like 20 feet in the air, like a cat. And I turn around, and I'm like, what's going on? And these two guys are looking at us, and then they look past us, and they tell the other prisoners, these ones are y'all's. And he says it in Spanish. These ones are y'all's.
Wow.
Now, I don't know about you, Tony, but out of all the ways I can think of going out, being raped to death in a prison in the Amazon is not one that I think really glorifies the Lord.
No.
And I'm like, and we'd like turn around, and Gene Izagara, Pastor Gene, these guys a lot of them were just sitting on the ground, and they were all looking at us, and they got up and they started moving weird, and they start walking towards us. And Jamie Cashin says, we got to get in the corner. And so we just kind of start creeping over the corner so that we can fight from the corner. And these other guys now are calling out all the guards. Y'all come watch this. The guards are all coming to the bars to watch how these guys are going to murder us. And I can't believe this has happened. Like, what? How did this even happen? Like, what is going on here? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I literally think this thought, I think I'm going to see Jesus today. And I thought that. I think I'm going to see Jesus today. Wow. I'm going to be murdered in this prison in the Amazon with my friends and doing God's work. And yeah, I think I'm literally thinking that. And all of a sudden, Gene Izagara he starts yelling. And he said, I'm an apostle from God Almighty, and I was sent by God Almighty. And you clowns think you're going to mess with me? You're not going to mess with me. You need to sit down and shut up because the Spirit of the living God is in this place. And as soon as he said that, it was like, boom, and they just stopped. A fear came upon these guys. And he starts prophesying to these guys and pointing at them. And he goes, don't be threatening me. Don't come over here. He goes, I didn't come down here for you to threaten me. I came down here to bring Jesus to you. And you better sit. He goes, sit down. I want y'all to sit down. And they all just started sitting down.
What?
He just commanded the whole room. The Spirit of the Lord just came on him, and he started commanding this room. And I'm talking about these guys were scary. And even sitting down, they were still like, why are you talking to us like that? And he's like, you better sit down and be quiet right now. I'm not playing with you. I carry the presence of the Most High God. There's this guy, he's all messed up and whatever. And Gene just lays his hand on him and says, be healed in the name of Jesus. And the guy just instantly got healed. And I'm like, yeah, you guys better do something. I have no idea what's happening. And Jamie, Jamie's like, oh my gosh, Jamie just starts crying. Man, we can feel the power of God. We preach Jesus. Every single one of those guys, without fail, they're like, we pronounce Jesus as our Lord and Savior.
Wow.
We gave away those at the end of all that. We gave away those packages. We had 170, and there was exactly 170 guys in that room with us. Exactly.
That's divine.
The guy actually showed Jamie, you see this? And he pulled out this homemade knife. It was this shank, this metal thing with a sharp tip. And he goes, "This is what I was going to gut you with." And he got in Jamie's face and said, "This was a move of God, because this is what I was going to gut you with. I was going to make your friends watch me gut you. And this is what I was going to kill you with." And he said, and Jamie gave him a hug. While he's still holding this thing, Jamie just hugged him. And he's like, "I saw Jesus today." And so the guards are there watching the whole deal. We turn around, the guards are crying.
Wow.
And when they let us in, when they let us out and into the room that they were in, they closed the door and they got down on their knees and they're like, "Lo siento. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Like, we're sorry. We're sorry. Please pray for us. Please pray for us." And I said, that devil of a warden has got to go. And so we left there and we went and got on national radio, because there was a radio. After that, I did a radio gig, and we got on radio and I told everybody what happened. And I said on the radio, the guard, the warden is a corrupt devil that just tried to get me murdered.
Wow.
And like an hour after that. And I said, she just now tried to get me murdered. And I'm calling upon the Colombian government. I'm calling upon this, calling upon that. I'm calling upon my friends. I'm calling upon the American ambassador. This woman just now tried to get me murdered. And if it wasn't for the power of God, I would be dead right now. And dude, the Colombian government came in and removed her.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because we're kind of famous down there, because, we rescue so many kids. And she got removed. So we went back the next year. We did. And it was a lot better. It was a whole lot better next year. And we didn't nearly get killed. We didn't nearly get killed next year, which was great. And so now we have a tremendous ministry there, and it's crazy cool.
That's incredible. That's incredible. The warden, you said, I think you referenced her being part of cartel or something like that.
Oh yeah, she's definitely cartel.
Jeez.
Colombian cartel. Absolutely.
Which is rough,
buddy.
So I didn't know that. There's different types of cartels.
Oh yeah. So
Yes.
the Argentinian cartel that comes up and steals our kids all up and down the Amazon in Brazil and in Colombia and in Peru, they use those kids for organs. And they go up those rivers with medical boats. And they perform surgeries on those kids and they steal their organs.
It's a Venezuelan authority.
Yeah, that's correct. That's Venezuelan.
Wow.
And then they go back to Venezuela with an entire boat full of all kinds of organs.
And I just
They all do different things.
I know the answer to this, but I got to clarify just for anybody listening. These kids are not being operated on by medical doctors to survive these operations.
No. They throw them in the river.
And I remember years ago, I did an interview with a guy who was trying to expose organ harvesting out of China with the Uyghur Muslims. And he said during that conversation that a lot of times they'll harvest the organs with the person still alive because it's some kind of beneficial thing for them. What they're trying to get, it's better if it's the person's alive while they're taking the organs out of the body.
They last longer.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're doing that. And where was Venezuela, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there's all different kinds of cartels down there. And they have different kinds of magic. They worship different kinds of gods. And they have different kinds of expertises on how they make money. So there's something else. But we have a colonel down there that we work with that's over all the Colombian army in the entire region. He's a good friend of mine. And I don't want to, I'm sorry for all my Christian friends. This is Pastor Troy Brewer, but I'm going to tell you what we all call him. We call him Colonel Kickass. That's what everybody calls him.
He is awesome.
And he is awesome. And I'm talking about he has a full mechanized army, and he's the guy that rescues kids for us and works with all kinds of stuff. And he's a supernatural guy. I get a phone call 2 years ago from this guy. This is how a phone call goes from him. I was in the middle of filming and Swami came in and said, "You have to take this phone call. It's the Colonel." And I'm like, "Colonel, what can I do for you?" He said, "Well, I'm in the jungle. I'm in the jungle, he says. And he said, I'm standing with Corporal so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. He's on the speaker. So yeah, he says, he's standing on a landmine and he's about to step off. And I want you to pray.
Imagine
Wow.
he's standing directly
Yeah,
next to the
he's standing
colonel and
next
standing
to
next to
him.
his corporal.
They came and got him and said, this guy's on line. He said, let me take me to him. And he goes walking through the jungle and he says, do you know Jesus? Because the only hope that you have is Jesus. Either God is going to do a miracle or you're about to meet him. And I want to help you with that. The guy is something. The guy talks with him, prays with him, asks me to pray for him. I pray for him. Whole 9 yards. We get done with all that kind of stuff. And he says, pray, get everybody to pray. Because his brother's about to step off. He's got a medical team there. If they can save his life, whole 9 yards. And he is a man of God with machine guns all over him. Like, no, we declare in the name of Jesus, this is how this is going to go. The Spirit of the living God is here. This young man shall live and not die, and he shall declare the testimonies of the Most High God. Yada, 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 yada. All stuff that we've taught him, right? And he's out there doing the kingdom stuff. And so, man, we're all on the phone. I mean, this guy's on the speaker, and they're talking in Spanish. Swanami is on the phone. You know, she's there, and she's talking in Spanish. And they all back off. Everybody gets way off. He says, okay, son, step off. Brother steps off, and it did not go off. That guy's awesome.
Wow.
And it made him famous. Everybody wanted to be a part of his troops, even though it's the worst job in all of Colombia, taking on the jungle cartels. Everybody's like, no, I want to be on that. I want to be on that. I want to be on that guy's team. So he has like 2,000 something men.
Jeez.
And he's a team member with us.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy cool.
That's wild. There's so many other things we could hit on. How long have we been going, Jack? A little over toes. Yeah, so we're starting to get tagged. But I want to do two things here real quick. One, I want to end with how people can help the ministry. But before we do that, I have this like nagging question. It's not even a question. I know it's happening, but how prevalent is it, I guess, because we see stats online. We've talked about it all over the world, but what about in our country? How prevalent is the trafficking coming out of our country as far as you've seen?
It's way, way, way worse than what anybody thinks it is. So here's one of the things that, here's one of the indications that people can know and they can understand what this is and how there are bad guys, even in the United States government, that don't just look the other way. They're actually complicit. So here's like, what are you talking about? How do you know that? Okay, well, if you want to look past the 350,000 kids that the Biden administration actually lost, that was in our system, they were actually in the system and lost. Like, okay, if you want to look past that, that's documented fact, and that is a smidgen of what actually happened. It's a tiny, tiny piece of what actually happened. But if you ever look online and say, hey, say like in Alabama, they just busted these bad guys and they just rescued 19 kids. Hey, in Texas, they just rescued 200 kids. In California, they rescued 800 kids. Okay, I'm just going to ask you the question. Where are those kids? Even when you hear those things, where do those kids go? So you're like, well, they go to a home. They go to special homes. Okay. In the entirety of the United States of America, in all 50 states, there are less than 600 beds for trafficked kids.
What?
There is one home for trafficked boys, and it has 17 beds. One home. In the entirety of all 50 states in the United States of America. So where do those kids go?
600 beds throughout the entire country?
I give you my word that is a true story. So where do they go, Tony? So what they would argue is, well, they go into the CPS system. Okay, well, they go into foster homes and they go into the CPS system, which why you would put a child that has been prostituted into just a home that doesn't know how to take care of those special, that the insanity of that is one thing. But the other thing is they disappear within a CPS system. And so, you know, Dave Bryan, and I know Dave Bryan. I'm actually on Dave's board and out in California. There was this, he tells this story, and I'm very aware of this, a barge in the San Francisco Bay where there were all these children on, and all of these people were coming to San Francisco, going out on boats to this party barge where all of these children were enslaved.
In San Francisco Bay?
In San Francisco Bay. Some friends of ours that are next level operators here in the United States, they busted the whole thing. They rescued 800 children. Okay. Did not make national news. Did not make, you know, it wasn't like everywhere you looked. It's like, it was a real quiet thing. Dave's friends had these kids. These kids were turned over to people of God, that this is what they do. The state attorney for if I'm not mistaken, the attorney general, I think it was the attorney general, but I might be mistaken in that, for California, came after them and said, those kids belong in the CPS system. They don't belong with you guys. You can't have them. They took them away from them. Okay. You know, they can't find a single one of those kids. Nobody knows where those kids went. Nobody knows. They got in the system and somehow their paperwork got lost and whatever. That's not Mexico. That's not Colombia. That's the United States of America. And this thing has to be addressed in this nation. And one of the things that we've got to keep these kids out of the system. This is my fight, Tony, is not just to rescue kids, which I am rescuing kids, but I want to keep them out of the government systems of the governments that they're indigenous to.
Yeah.
I hate those systems. And I'm not against, you know, like foster kids. Leanna grew up in a foster home. Leanna's parents were foster parents, her biological parents, and they raised over 300 kids over a 50-year period. Leanna has over 300 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And plus there's 5 siblings, biological siblings. I'm not against that. What I'm against is the system itself is designed so that people can get away with stuff that is so bad, Tony. And it protects the people that want to get away with stuff. There are these sites on pornography all over the world that's called 18 only sites. It's for 18-year-olds. You know where they pull those kids out of? CPS system. The day they turn 18, they get kicked out of their house, and somebody makes sure that they get into a home that will kick them out the day that they turn 18 because there's no longer a check involved. And somebody turns that list of those 16, 17, approaching 18-year-old kids, somebody turns that over to the industry. And they target those kids. And they go after those kids so that they pick them up the day they turn 18, and then it's completely legal. And then they take those kids, they put them in the pornography industry, and they kill themselves by the time, you know, they're 21, 22 years old. And that is a product of the CPS system. So yes, it's bad. And this is why the body of Jesus Christ has to stand up to this. Because if the body of Jesus, if we as Christians do not stand up to this, there's nobody else coming.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do it. It's the role of the church.
Wow. So do you think that there's this with the CPS system and different systems like that, do you think that they were designed poorly that allows the flourishing?
No, I think it was set up from the get-go. It was set up.
That's what I was thinking.
You do a history on the United States Postal Service. Do you know that the United States Postal Service, when it was first developed, moved kids?
What?
You mailed kids.
Wow.
You're like, okay, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy. Look it up. That's all I'm going to say about it. Just look it up. You could literally mail a kid. You could mail a child from Chicago to New York. It was a way to move children around. And I can see it. I've been involved in this my whole life. I can see it. I understand it. And for people who have built up walls and went, no. Well, those walls are coming down now. Yeah. And you can no longer ignore or deny And the obsession and the demand for children is getting higher and higher and higher as pornography is taking over more and more and more.
Yes.
And so that's another thing too. Unless we're taking on pornography, you're not fighting trafficking. You cannot stop pornography you cannot stop trafficking in any area of the world without truly shutting down access to pornography, because it is the development of pedophiles, and then it also teaches them how to find it. The actual algorithms teach you how to surf the dark web, and if you stay on a number of hours, you'll know exactly how to find a kid. And that's just from watching. You start off watching The Oriental Babysitter, you end up watching the baby, and that's what it is designed to do.
Wow. So that's deeply disturbing, and I just hope that people can get on board with helping to fight this in any way they can.
Well, don't be impressed with the evil of it. Be impressed with the passion of God to go after this and end it, because God sees all this and He still loves people. I don't know how. I really don't. I don't know how God loves humanity, because He sees it all and He's aware of all of it. And but He does. And it's a different day. This has gone on unchallenged for so long, for hundreds of years here within the United States. It's gone on unchallenged. And now it's actually being challenged. Now people are aware of it. And now it's happening. So I'm excited about the day we live in. Like I said, I'm being invited. I've been invited now to the White House, and I've gone and spoke to Congress here twice. I got invited to Mexico's Congress last year. I'm getting to speak at the World Cup. No, it's become a thing. But it's become a thing because godly people have stood up and said, not on my watch. That's why slavery ended here in the United States. The whole abolitionist movement was a Christian movement. It was not a government movement. It was a Christian movement. And that's exactly what it's going to take to end child trafficking.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. Let's go.
Tell people where they can help join the fight.
Well, you go to TroyBrewer.com is the easiest thing, and it'll direct you everywhere. And jump in this fight however you can. You look me up on social media. Go to odx.tv on, and especially, man, to be able to find the full uncut versions of The Counter, which Tony Merkel is on.
I am.
And I'm sure hoping you will be a part of season 2, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Come on, man. Yeah. You got to, man.
I might even bring my son to the church.
Oh, good. That'd be good.
We're going to be on a trip where I'll be speaking at Larry's conference, and then we had to go to Charlotte for...
He's going to see a whole different side of you, man.
He is.
How old is he?
8, and he's never traveled with me to do anything. So,
do you guys want to go out to the ranch?
Probably, yeah.
So I'll take you guys out to the ranch. Yeah, we'll go out to the ranch. You'll be blown away.
Because I talked to his school earlier this year, and I said, there's going to be times I'm taking my son with me with my travels, and
that's cool.
You're just going to need to plan accordingly.
Yeah.
And they understand. So
that's good.
But yeah, people can definitely go check out everything. And just remember, guys, like everything that we're doing with The Counter is to fight human trafficking.
It is.
And the stories you heard today, there's so many more. I have a list of things that I was like, oh, we'll get to this, that, and the other. There's never enough time. And so, and this is also my way of just keeping the door open to bring you back. So
I'm so grateful for you, man. Thank you, man, for loving us. I mean it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. And we love your show. Again, way before we knew you, Ben got me turned on to your stuff. And also to Connie Jenkins, who works for me. Yep. She listened to you for a long, long time.
Man.
And getting to know you and becoming friends with you, and then connecting our ministries together. I mean, because whether you know it or not, I mean, you know it now, but you didn't know when you started. This is a ministry. It's influence on people. And we're just, I don't know.
Well, I've said this before on the show, and I'll say it again because you're here. I knew God called me to do the show. That was abundantly clear. I was deeply discouraged by the amount of pastoral people around me that I had come across that would treat me. They wouldn't say it, but they would treat me in a way that this wasn't a ministry. And it was almost like taking me back to high school, where it was like this social rejection. It was like, I'm not in high school. I'm a grown man, and I don't need to be treated this way. And it wasn't until Alan DiDio came across my path. He was the first person that called this a ministry, that was a pastor, that I was like, whoa. Well, my pastor at church did too, but like, it was so wild to me that I was like, well, yeah, God told me that this was going to happen, and you're seeing that. That was deeply encouraging. And then he opened the door to you guys and the Joseph Z, and it's just, for me, like, and anybody who doesn't like it, you guys are to blame for the way the show is now these days.
Yeah, that's like,
but it is what it is.
It is what it is. And that's what I say about us. Everybody that doesn't like me talking about all the blurry stuff we see all over the world, it's all your fault.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there we go. We'll take the blame.
Exactly.
We'll take the blame.
Circle.
Yeah. But it's just, it's, you can't, I was talking to Derek about this yesterday. You can't do this as a Christian. You can't do this show for as long as I have without coming to the conclusion that, hey, this is all supernatural, and I'd be doing everybody a disservice if I didn't talk about it in that way, because I'm trying to protect people from their own feelings.
Yep.
Like, I'm not responsible for your anger for the words that come out of my mouth.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So like, it is what it is. I mean, we're going to talk about things. We're going to be supernatural on the show. We're going to say things how it is. And if you get emotional about it, that's not my problem. It is what it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to Troy Brewer's world right there. I said it on Sunday. I said it literally behind the pulpit on Sunday. I said, guys, I'm going to speak this. I'm going to tell the truth. And if you don't like it, you can kiss my grits. I said that behind the pulpit. Like
He did.
I said that.
You
I
guys
said that
standing
to, we had
ovation.
10,000 people watching live. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You're not going to get me to back off of this. You know, this is real. I have the gift of real. And I'm going to be real. So there you go. Thanks again, man. It's an incredible opportunity. Thanks, man.
We'll do it again.
All right.
We'll do it again.